3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Place Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. You can, today on the show, find Sal Capaccio coming up 40 minutes from now, the Bills sideline reporter, to preview the Buffalo Bills season. Christian Hackenberg is going to stop by at the top of the hour. We will go around the Big Ten with him. And, of course, it is a Wednesday, so we'll do a little Winkler Wednesday with Bart Winkler. Now, let's get to the big news of the day. JJ McCarthy out for the season. So yesterday, when we were just talking, and sometimes when you talk, you just express how you genuinely feel. And when I heard the Adam Schefter audio, where it was very ambiguous about what's going to happen to JJ McCarthy, where he's going to get a trim of the meniscus, and then they're going to figure out how long it's going to be, and there's a chance it was a few weeks, or there's a chance that it's going to be many months and it's going to be season ending. When I just heard, as I said yesterday, with no background of being a doctor, and I made that abundantly clear yesterday, I'm not a doctor. I think I made a joke like, I ain't a doctor. I said I don't think JJ McCarthy's playing at all this upcoming season. And I think he's either going to be out for the year, or the time he's going to return is going to be so late in the season that they basically use this year as kind of like an NFL redshirt year. And I can't tell you how many friends, family members, and listeners reached out to me while the show was going on saying, you have no clue what you're talking about. I got so many texts. He could be back in a few weeks. You've never had a meniscus tear, a minor meniscus tear. And I'm telling you, I got so many messages, so many, where I'm like, man, maybe I did underestimate this injury. But then we get the breaking news report about an hour ago from Ian Rappaport. Vikings first round quarterback JJ McCarthy underwent a full meniscus repair this morning and is out for the 2024 season. Sources tell Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero the repair was done at Twin Cities Orthopedics and gives McCarthy the best chance at a long, successful career. So trying to figure out what JJ McCarthy's going to be here in year number one, we will now have to delay that until next season. But it does create two fun scenarios here. And I feel horrible for JJ McCarthy. Now, even though I anticipated Sam Darnold was going to be the week one starter, I thought it would have been an egregious error by the Minnesota Vikings because there's no point to me in seeing Sam Darnold play football right now as a starting quarterback. Now he has to because McCarthy is done for the season, but we know, or we think, JJ McCarthy is their future, and I wanted to see the future in the present. I don't buy that Sam Darnold, right? Because whenever a quarterback is bad for a while and then goes on to have like one season, and we saw that with Geno Smith, who was basically irrelevant for a decade and then pops up and has one great year. Now, since it's recent history, people are like, oh, who could be that next guy? And Sam Darnold gets thrown into that conversation. Like, Sam Darnold can be okay, but I don't think you're walking away at the end of the season saying, oh, Sam Darnold, reclamation project, a lot of people wrote him off. He didn't write back, and now Sam Darnold's going to go be this great quarterback in this league. I don't see it, especially when that division is very tough. I know Hard Knocks was terrible last night. Number one, they had a streaming issue. So many people were trying to access it that you couldn't get to it. And episode 1, which was good, wasn't great, but was good, had record viewership. And then episode 2, because, hey, Bears fans are really excited showing the hype of Caleb Williams, either HBO didn't press the A-OK on streaming it to everyone, or so many people were trying to get it that it crashed the system. So that was an issue. And then I woke up this morning. I said, okay, it's there. Good. We're good to go. And it was a dud of an episode. Boring episode. I thought the offseason one with the Giants was actually a lot better. But you look inside that division, the Bears are coming, man. I believe the Bears are going to be good this year. I think they're going to be 9-8, maybe even 10-7. They're going to be a wild card team. The Green Bay Packers, I don't think it's crazy to say, I'm not expecting it, but I don't think it's crazy to say they have Super Bowl expectations. You look at the Lions, they definitely have Super Bowl expectations. So the Vikings are the 4th team in this division. And you have TJ Hawkinson injured. I don't know what's going to happen legally with Jordan Addison. We know Justin Jefferson's a stud. Aaron Jones is really good. Christian Darrisaw's a really good offensive lineman. So you got some names there where you're not going to be terrible. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world this year if, let's say, the Minnesota Vikings only win 5 or 6 games with Sam Darnold. Because you're going to get a great draft pick, and then you could use that draft pick to continue to build a young core and a young nucleus when JJ McCarthy comes back a year from now. And let me be abundantly clear in my opinion on JJ McCarthy. I don't think he's going to be a great pro quarterback. I don't. But I think he could be a good pro quarterback in the right system. And you can't tell me there's not enough there for him to have an opportunity to succeed with an offensive-minded coach who knows the long-term future of Aaron Jones in Minnesota, but the long-term future of Minnesota being Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Christian Darrisaw on the offensive side of the ball. So there's enough there where even though this sucks right now, a year from now, after not having to play the first year, and you could still be in the building, you could learn, you could, obviously mix in rehab and all that stuff. Even though I thought JJ McCarthy was ready to go after his first preseason game, he'll be even more ready a year from now. But I want to play like a fun little game here where I just have a few thoughts. And let me just throw out the first one. I don't think it's as fun. It's just more of an interesting question. I do wonder if we talk to Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the general manager of the Vikings, and we talk to Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, if you just asked them that if you knew you were going to draft JJ McCarthy and he was going to get hurt and miss the first year, and you knew that Kirk Cousins was already going to be annoyed that he's with the Atlanta Falcons after signing there because they drafted his replacement 8th overall, would you have just signed Kirk to like a 3 or 4 year contract extension and kept Kirk in Minnesota? Because I'd much rather have going into the season Kirk Cousins than Sam Darnold. And not only that, then you could have used the 10th overall pick in the draft, or they were at 11 that they moved up via trade, on a defensive player. And I know a few picks later, they ended up getting Dallas Turner at 17, but you could have got either 2 young defensive players to bolster your defense, or you could have got really funky and you could have even added more to your offense. And I know that they have tackles, but you could have drafted Olu Fashanu there. Or how about this one? You could have gone the 2 tight end set. I know you have Hawkinson come back from injury. You also could have drafted Brock Bowers. If they said, okay, we won't take McCarthy, and we would have just brought back Kirk Cousins. And I think Kirk Cousins, if he knew he was going to go to Atlanta and was basically going to get replaced before he even got to start his tenure in Atlanta, and Kirk will be there at most 2 years, and he could go win a division in these next 2 years twice and maybe win a playoff game or 2, okay, fine. But I think Kirk Cousins, if he knew that, and he was being honest, that Atlanta was just going to draft a quarterback, well, Minnesota basically told him we were going to draft a quarterback anyway. So I think he would have just stayed there where he knew everyone and he knew the system. I don't know if the Vikings, though, would have done the do-over. Because I think the Vikings the last few years were making it clear they were done with Kirk Cousins and they were just waiting when the time was right to actually move on. So there's one thought. But then I got to give you another thought here. And this one I actually think is a really fun thought. So Mike Fliegelman, who works down the hall, he goes by Fleegs here. Very good dude. He is a crazy Jet fan and a crazy Penn State fan. And you know what? We have a lot of producers and board ops here that are like crazy Penn State fans. Hickey, Chris Hess, and Fleeks. So those guys are 3 crazy Penn State fans. But Fliegelman is like a psycho Jet fan. So this is what he tweeted out. And this is just a Jet fan. Like, it didn't work for us. So even though Sam Darnold has done nothing else in this league, it's going to work for somebody else even years after the Jets move on from Sam Darnold. Here was the tweet. The biggest debate of the next NFL offseason will be if the Vikings should tag and trade Sam Darnold to make room for JJ McCarthy or pay Darnold and trade McCarthy. Darnold is going to be that good this year. I'm sorry. And I know O'Connell did a good job last year after losing his quarterback. But what makes you think the Vikings are going to be really good? Their defense did improve under Brian Flores, but there are still gaping holes on the defensive side of the ball with the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings last year were 7-10. Sam Darnold now being their quarterback, can I see them being 8-9? I guess. But this team's not making the playoffs. This team's not going 9-8 with Sammy slinging Darnold. No way. They're not going 10-7, especially when they're in that division with the Lions, the Packers. Lions were 12-5 last year. Packers were 9-8. And guess what? They're better. The Bears were also 7-10. Same record as the Vikings. The Bears are better. So this fear from Jets fans, and I can understand it because everything goes wrong for the Jets, is comical to me. But when I saw that tweet, and I know Fliegelman has not responded to it because it definitely got under his skin, because he knows that I am celebrating and enjoying this fear that he has that Sam Darnold's going to be great. I'd respond to the tweet like this. And then Sam gets traded back to the Jets to replace Aaron Rodgers, and then Darnold goes back to being a bust. Right, Fleegs? That would be the most Jet thing ever. Darnold has a career year this year. They tag him. They go, no, we still want to go ahead with JJ McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers, let's say, doesn't have a good year. And I think the Jets are actually going to be a playoff team. But let's say he doesn't have a good year just for this exercise. He retires, and the Jets go, who says he can't go home? Let's get a little Bon Jovi in there. We'll bring Sam Darnold back after a monster season, 30 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And then he goes back to being the bust version of Sam Darnold. That's a little evil thought that I saw based off the Fliegelman tweet. But, can we pump the brakes here? Everyone's, Sam Darnold's going to be wonderful. Sam Darnold's going to be really good. I understand everyone has to have a take in this business, but based off what? I used to be a big Sam Darnold fan. I did. I thought he was going to be a really good quarterback in this league coming out of USC. And with New York, the Jets probably messed him up more than it was his fault, but he still didn't give you at least 5 tangible moments. I did shows in New York on WFAN locally when the option was thrown out to maybe the Jets to trade for Deshaun Watson. And anytime I heard a Sam Darnold truther call me up, I said, give me the moments, the 3 or 4 moments that you saw that you have a belief that Sam Darnold can be a franchise quarterback. Couldn't do it. You could be in a bad situation and still provide moments, even if they're in a minuscule amount, that display that you have the ability to be a franchise quarterback. And I saw Sam in Carolina. At one point, he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns, and then he got hurt. And he played okay at the end of the year. But did you ever think, Sam Darnold's going to go save the Carolina Panthers? No. And if Sam Darnold was that great, and remember last year, Brock Purdy should be worried. Come on. What are we doing? And the Vikings are a good spot in terms of offensive talent. But is this a team that now is going to rejuvenate Sam Darnold's career? I don't see it, even with all the good coaching and even with all the good players that they have on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think he's going to be trash this year. But this idea that I'm going to be salivating over the thought of Sam Darnold next year and, my team has to go get him or the Vikings may have a tough decision to make. Stop. Nonsense. JJ McCarthy will be the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings next year. That's it. If he didn't suffer an injury, he would have played at some point this year. Not from week 1, but he would have played at some point this year. So I can't expect, and I'm a man of logic, with any history or any evidence that suggests that Sam Darnold's going to go on to have this great year in Minnesota, even though he's in, outside of San Francisco, the best offensive spot he's been in his career. It's an opportunity for Sam Darnold, but once again, go through their schedule. Giants week 1, good defense. Then they play San Francisco, Houston, Green Bay, the Jets. Sam Darnold gets the Jets. That actually turns out to be a good game. It's in London? Or maybe it's Germany? I don't know. It's in London. 9:30. What a waste. Bye week. Lions, Rams. Through those 8 games, maybe the Vikings they'd be lucky to have 3 wins in those 8 games? Seriously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Sorry, because I included the bye. They'd be lucky to start the season off 3-4. Be lucky. Probably 2 wins there. Giants, and they'll beat one of those teams that they're not supposed to beat. But this idea that Sam Darnold's going to have this great season, pump the brakes. That's all I'm going to say. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Sort of an update on Brandon Ayuk. I now feel very confident about what's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk, and also one wide receiver that is holding in, but for some reason, I don't feel like we've talked about him at all this offseason, and why it's a waste that there's a contract dispute right now. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, Vikings fans, when it rains, it pours. Breaking news. We already know JJ McCarthy is now out for the season. According to Alec Lewis, who covers the Vikings for The Athletic, Vikings wide receiver, we were just talking about him, Jordan Addison, just went down in practice. He was leaping for a contested ball. He is hobbling off with the trainers. Well, it then turned into him having to get on a cart. So the cart had to get out on the field to get him off the field. So now we don't know what's going to be going on with Jordan Addison. So, man, what a brutal last few days for the Minnesota Vikings. You find out McCarthy's injured. Sam Darnold's going to be QB1. Then you find out, McCarthy's out for the season. And now Jordan Addison has suffered an injury. We don't know the extent of it, but he has suffered an injury that needed him to get carted off the field. So, that's just rough. This is why I say this all the time. I hate training camp. I hate the preseason. Because I sit there during training camp and the preseason like a nervous wreck just saying no one gets hurt. I hope nobody gets hurt. Because I know that injuries in the NFL are inevitable. And I'm not saying you ever want to see an injury. But you'd rather see them happen in the regular season when they're playing for something when it's in the preseason or training camp. And every year we know there's a litany of injuries in the preseason, the training camp. And this is not me getting into like a rant of, because I'll see people say, this is why you shouldn't play, the future of your team in the preseason or stuff. If it happened in the preseason or in training camp, there's a chance that it happens in the regular season. So I don't believe that you don't get ready for the season, but I just don't like the monotonous training camps and the monotonous preseason, even though I understand what their importance is, because these injuries can happen. Like, I'm not saying that you don't have preseason, you don't have training camp. That would be stupid. The product's already kind of rubbish as it is the first few weeks of the season. It would be even worse if you just totally wiped out training camp and preseason, and not good for these players because their bodies wouldn't be ready if you just said, hey, show up in September when the ball gets kicked in the air. Hey, Stu, you like that use of rubbish right there? You being a soccer guy?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I saw you got a
rubbish.
good chuckle out of that.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Rubbish is good. We should probably use the word rubbish a little bit more.
We should.
That and, who said it yesterday? Oh, it was Tyreek Hill when he went to say horse bleep and he said horseradish?
I like that, too.
I like that, too.
Great for radio.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. Could you imagine? I like to say hogwash when it's nonsense. People usually get a kick out of hogwash. Imagine if I'm just in a rant one day. Oh, what kind of horseradish is that? That would be fun. I think I may start using that in my vocabulary. Horseradish. So a tip of the cap to Tyreek Hill. All right, talking about wide receivers. Stu, should I talk about Jamar Chase first or Brandon Ayuk? Which one you rather hear me talk about first?
Let's go Jamar Chase.
What a pointless holdout this is. Or hold in. And it's nothing against Jamar Chase. I'll be perfectly clear on that. We all know that the Cincinnati Bengals, when Joe Burrow is healthy, they are the team that is the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. At one point, they had a 3-game win streak up against the Kansas City Chiefs. At one point, we saw them beat the Kansas City Chiefs in an AFC Championship game. Now, they've also lost to the Chiefs in an AFC Championship game. But there is no doubt about it, when Burrow is healthy, they are the biggest threat to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. And we all know, going back to their days together at LSU, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are an elite connection. It's one thing to say, all right, I'm not going to be the Eagles, I'm not going to be Miami, and I'm not going to pay both receivers. It's one thing to tell T. Higgins, you're on the franchise tag, we're not getting a long-term deal done with you. And we're already past that deadline anyway to get the long-term deal done. But for Jamar Chase, I know he has 2 years left on his deal with this year factored in. Does anyone think the Bengals aren't going to give him a long-term deal? Even with, right, what we've heard about the Bengals in the past, where I think it was Takeo Spikes who told me that if you wanted a new jockstrap, you had to trade in the old one. And they used to make players before Marvin Lewis got there pay for water and Gatorade and things like that. Like, we know the cheap perception around the Cincinnati Bengals. But it's one thing to not pay one wide receiver. It's another thing not to give the deal well, what I'm trying to say is, it's one thing if you say, oh, I'm not going to pay T. Higgins. It's another thing to say, oh, I'm not going to pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like, we all know Jamar Chase is going to get a long-term deal done. So why are you making him wait? It's not as if this dude isn't a top 5 receiver in the game. So if it's, oh, he wants, we want to give him 31 or 32 a year and he wants 35, like, just get the deal done now. The market, just like quarterbacks, wide receiver and quarterback market are similar. It keeps on going up and up and up and up. And people keep on either get close to resetting the market or actually reset the market. Like, Jamar Chase is in line to reset the market. So what are you making him wait for? And if that means you lose T. Higgins, so be it. I don't think they're going to keep both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So the T. Higgins one I get, but everyone already assumes, and I have as well, maybe that's why it hasn't got that much coverage, because like we talked about CeeDee Lamb, we talked about Brandon Ayuk more than anyone could imagine. But it doesn't feel like the Jamar Chase hold-in has really got a lot of play, because everyone believes that he's ultimately going to get a deal. And that's why I don't get what Cincinnati's doing, why they can't figure out this contract. I said it yesterday with Brandon Ayuk. I think I could get that deal done in 2 seconds. 4 years, $29 million a year, and then boom, it's over with. And I see today that people believe he's going to get $28 or $29 million a year from the San Francisco 49ers, but there's a little argument over the guaranteed money, or if it's a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal. Just give him San Francisco a 4-year deal, $29 million a year, and whatever guaranteed is necessary, and get this thing over with. But as crazy as the Ayuk situation has been, and for the most part, I've been in the stance that a deal gets done with the 49ers, and a year from now they're trading Deebo Samuel. As much as that doesn't make any sense right now with Ayuk, it really doesn't make sense with Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase is better than Brandon Ayuk. And I think Brandon Ayuk's a damn good player. But Jamar Chase is not only really damn good, but he is a guy that's been with Joe Burrow going back to college. You didn't draft an offensive lineman because your quarterback wanted Jamar Chase. So what, you're not going to get this deal done with Jamar Chase? So why do we need this dog and pony show to carry over right now where he's holding in? It just seems like a giant waste of everyone's time. They should be able to get this deal done. They should. And I know there's 2 years left on the deal. It shouldn't go into this season. But the fact that it's August 14th and we're 3 weeks away from the season, I'm like, what the heck is taking so long? Now, on the Brandon Ayuk front, I am more convinced than ever that he is going to be back with the 49ers. And I'll say by Monday, they'll have a long-term extension done. The fact that they haven't pulled the trigger on the trade with the Steelers yet makes me think the deal with the Steelers isn't going to happen. We know that New England pulled out, and they offered $32 million a year. Clearly, the Browns didn't want to give the financial return to Brandon Ayuk, because if so, they would have done that deal, the 49ers, because they were going to get back Amari Cooper, who's on the final year of his deal. But the fact that we got the reporting of, oh, all it takes is the Niners to say yes, and they have the deal already agreed upon with the Steelers, it shows that there's serious interest. But Ayuk has now turned down, or the Pats turned him down basically because he didn't want to go there. So $32 million a year. The Browns didn't want to give him what he paid. And it's like, okay, the Steelers obviously are going to give him what he wants, but they don't have the return for the Niners that the Niners are looking for, a team that's in a win now window. So it does make the 49ers be able to go back to Ayuk and say, okay, we offered you roughly $26 million a year. We know that money isn't necessarily everything here, but what is it going to take to get the deal done? And I'm going to say that this ball is on the 5-yard line, and it's I would say it's 3rd and goal right now, and we are close to seeing the Niners punch this in. Yesterday I was a little split on it, and I was just fed up with it. But I'd be surprised now if Brandon Ayuk's not on the San Francisco 49ers come week 1. The Bengals thing, though, really doesn't make any sense. It's a lot of hype with these wide receivers, and it really doesn't make any sense. Like, through all this dancing that we've done this offseason with Ayuk, he's now going to wind back up with the 49ers and the Bengals. It's like, I get it. He still has 2 years left, but just get the damn deal done. You know Jamar Chase isn't going anywhere else. And you know you're not going to let him leave. So just get the deal done with him and keep Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase happy. And don't have any possible distractions, because when healthy, you guys are the only team that has really been able to beat the Chiefs when it matters. All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will preview the Buffalo Bills season next with longtime sideline reporter Sal Capaccio. But first up, with the latest Infinity Sports Network update, here he is, El Capitan, Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Zach, we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Looks like it'll be the Sam Darnold show in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy done for the season. Needed a full repair of his meniscus. 10th overall pick will miss the entire rookie campaign. Likely putting the Vikings in the hands of a former number 3 overall pick in the 2018 draft in Darnold. A trade in place, but talks of an extension ongoing. That remains the latest for Brandon Ayuk. 49ers said to still want to get something done with the 26-year-old wideout. A long-term deal. Also said they have a trade in place with the Steelers should that fall through. Lions head coach Dan Campbell didn't sound worried about Jahmyr Gibbs. Hamstring injury suffered in practice Monday. Also very appreciative of the support around Detroit coming off their first NFC Championship game since 1991. However,
but I'm also very guarded too, because I'm not an idiot, and we got to keep this train going. And you're only as good as your last game, your last season, and we got more we got to push for. But the fans have been unbelievable, and they really have embraced this.
That courtesy of 97 won the ticket in Detroit. One game in baseball, Bobby Witt Jr. is homered, couple of hits. Royals lead the Twins 4-1. They're in the top of the 8th. I'm Marco Belletti.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Football season is right around the corner.
Holding himself, runs to the left, he's to the 5, Lamar's in, touchdown Ravens. They're going to have a championship game in Baltimore because they hate the barn.
Will it be your team's year to hoist the Lombardi?
In the shotgun, Mahomes. He runs and he throws, caught, touchdown. It's caught. Hardman caught the ball. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won. The entire bench empties. Chasing Mahomes in the end zone. Their third Super Bowl in 5 years.
We preview all 32 teams right here on the Zach Gelb Show. The Buffalo Bills.
All righty, time to preview the Buffalo Bills. We'll do so with one of our favorites, the team sideline reporter. That, of course, is Sal Capaccio, who joins us right now, who just checked into his hotel in Pittsburgh. So, Sal, we get to see where the magic happens, right in your hotel room as I see you on Zoom.
Yeah, so far just the magic of unpacking and being here for a few days. Normally it's in and out. Today is you get here today, joint practice tomorrow, staying on Friday. What's his name? Skeens. Sorry, Paul Skeens is pitching Friday night, so maybe. Sorry about that, Paul Skeens. Couldn't get his name out of my head. And the pitching, maybe going to go see that, and then of course the game on Saturday.
And Springsteen, I'm actually going to.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I'm going to be there Sunday, a little less than 24-hour trip with Springsteen in town, I think, for 2 shows.
Someone just told me that, hey, are you interested in going to Springsteen? That's amazing. I would be. I actually, I saw him early 2000s in Tampa. I was living in Florida, and man, the guy went for 3 straight hours nonstop. I heard he's still doing it like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. I see him a few times each and every tour. My dad's favorite, my favorite. So wonderful stuff there. Let me ask you this though, right out of the gate. It has nothing to do with the Bills, but this Brandon Ayuk situation. With him potentially getting traded to Pittsburgh. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to get a long-term deal done with the 49ers, but now that's a storyline with you being in Pittsburgh. What do you think happens with Brandon Ayuk?
Well, I would lean more towards what you're saying, right? It feels like these things kind of, when they get to this point, and you see they're still trying to work something out, and there's some hurdles, and they can't really come to an agreement, that he eventually stays where he is, which is in San Francisco here. But it feels like, the Steelers really want him, but they're only willing to go so high. I don't know how much they want to pay him. The Steelers have kind of revamped their wide receiver room, much like the Bills did actually here, where I don't think they really want to pay a premium contract for a player at that position, but that's what it would take. So at the end of the day, I think the chances are usually that the player winds up staying. Otherwise, maybe the deal would have been done already, maybe a couple months ago, even before camp.
Sal Capaccio here with us. This time last year, Stephon Diggs was an issue, right, with Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. We talked about that storyline until we're blue in the face. Now he's with the Houston Texans. You talked about that revamped offense. What kind of locker room does Buffalo have this year without the distraction of everything that was going on with Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, and the word distraction's usually a negative. I don't think it has to be here. I think that Stephon Diggs, his personality, his aura, his just being there was always something that people talked about, right? No matter what he did, it was always something with Stephon Diggs. But he was a great player, and by all accounts, he was a great teammate. And, the Bills are going to lose that, obviously. But I do think that there's a bit of relief around the organization that you don't have this player that brings this really big personality that's always being talked about. And is he happy? Is he not happy? What's the situation with him and Josh, him and the organization, all those kinds of things. So I think from that standpoint, locker room wise, it wasn't like Stephon Diggs was a bad locker room guy. Not at all. I think players will tell you he was a really great teammate. But I do feel that there's a bit of relief, like I said, and maybe less walking on eggshells and thinking about that and having to be asked about that all the time.
And we know the Bills have been in the spotlight a lot. I think people aren't expecting as much out of them this year. They're still my pick to win the AFC East, and I kind of think, Sal, this year is set up for Josh Allen to go win his first MVP this year. How about that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Zach, because if Josh can put up the same kind of numbers he's basically put up the last few years with this cast compared to having Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and some of the others he's had, Cole Beasley, John Brown, and Emmanuel Sanders and players like that, I mean, this is, one of the lesser known kind of cast of characters around him. And if he can go and put up those kinds of numbers and the Bills do win a division and they go to the playoffs, I think that Josh Allen should get serious MVP consideration. He's already finished second and third, and he's been basically in that area over the last few years. I would also pick the Bills to win the division. Now, I don't think it's going to be easy by any stretch. It came down to one final game the last week of the year, last year even. The wild card here is what happens with Aaron Rodgers, right? And does he stay healthy? If he does, it's going to be a fight. They're a good team. They have a good offense, a lot of skill players, and we all know they have a heck of a defense. But if he's not healthy, and I don't know if you can bet on him staying healthy, then I don't know if the Jets can really contend. I think the Dolphins are the team that could even take a step back, given all their changes on defense and losing Christian Wilkins and Phillips and Chubb coming off of injuries and the secondary being revamped. Their third defensive coordinator in 3 years with a different system. Can Tua stay healthy? The Bills still have Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the division. The Bills still have a very good head coach and coaching staff, a very good front office, and they still have some good core players on this team too. Vegas favors them to win the AFC East, and I think there's a reason for that.
Sal Capaccio here with us. So we saw James Cook take a big step last year. Dalton Kincaid, I have high expectations for him, and there's been a lot of buzz ever since he got drafted about Keon Coleman. What types of years do you expect from Kincaid and then also Keon Coleman?
I'll start with Keon Coleman because as a second round pick, people always say first round pick. I've made that mistake. You got to remember he was taken with the first pick of the second round, actually. The Bills had a chance to take Xavier Worthy. They didn't. They, famously, I guess now traded that pick to Kansas City. Xavier Legette was still there, but the Bills, they liked Keon Coleman. And I think this is a guy that's going to fit really well into this offense. He gives Josh Allen something he hasn't had. And that is an ability to kind of get a ball wherever he kind of puts it near his body with separation vertically, separation with his length. it's really funny, Zach. All the criticism of Keon coming out was lack of separation. I get it. He's not going to run by you running a 4.35 straight down the field. But watching him in camp, man, he gets separation a lot of different ways. He gets separation with his body control and his length. He gives a really big red zone target to Josh Allen. Is he going to be a true number one receiver? No, I don't think so. Not right now. Maybe in a couple of years that winds up happening. But I think he's going to fit in right away. He's going to be leaned on a lot. He's going to be used in different ways. He's good with the ball in his hands. I think he's going to score touchdowns. So I think that's the kind of year he's going to have. But I think Dalton Kincaid, by the end of this season, could be in all-pro consideration. Now, there are a lot of great tight ends. So I'm not going to say Dalton Kincaid's going to be an all-pro because there's so many guys at that position. But that's the kind of player I think he'll be thought of by the end of the season. And if you ask me who's going to lead the Bills in targets this year, I think it's Dalton Kincaid.
Talking to Sal Capaccio right now. So we all know, right, Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Keon Coleman, James Cook, obviously the quarterback in Josh Allen. Who else on the offense do we really need to zero in on and maybe could surprise some people this year?
Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir, here's a great stat for you, Zach. This is incredible to think about. He is the only wide receiver on the entire Bills roster who caught a pass from Josh Allen last year in a regular season game. Every other player at wide receiver is brand new. Now, they do have Dalton Kincaid. They do have Dawson Knox, obviously.
Sure.
That's the guy, though, because this is a guy, if you go look at last year, end of the year, like since Joe Brady took over, basically the last 6-7 weeks, Stephon Diggs had a pretty big drop in production. We know that. You know who had a really big uptick in production? Khalil Shakir. The way he was used, his reliability. He is very reliable. He's got great hands. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest, but he does a lot of things so well. Someone gave me the comparison the other day of him to Robert Woods, who had a really nice long career in the NFL, right? That's the kind of player I think he can be. Now, not just saying that nobody really said Robert Woods was ever a number one receiver. I don't think Khalil Shakir will be, but I think he does so much for the Bills and he'll be able to be so reliable for Josh Allen that I think Khalil Shakir is a guy that you should probably have an eye out for.
At the age of 35, what can people expect now out of Von Miller, especially after last year was basically a wash year for him?
We're all wondering the same thing. He, to me, is the X factor for the Buffalo Bills defense, at least, and maybe even the entire team. Because if you can even get some facsimile of what Von Miller was before his knee injury in Detroit and Thanksgiving in 2022, boy, that's really great, right? And Von Miller was really having a fantastic season at the age of 33 at the time. But last year, it just didn't go well. He came back. He said later he probably shouldn't have come back. He tried. It was kind of a lost season for Von. I'll tell you this. I think Von's had a really good camp. I think he's confident and he's comfortable in his knee again. I think that he's really wanting to prove to everybody he doesn't want to go out of the NFL like this. He wants to, like it was last year. I think he wants to prove to everybody that he still has it. And look, the Bills aren't going to use him all the time. They're going to use him on first and second down. Greg Rousseau's a heck of a run defender. AJ Epinesa is there. They signed Tawan Smoot, who can play inside and outside. I think Von becomes, sometimes first and second down guy, but that third down pass rusher that he's fresh and he can come at you. So it's a great question. We don't know what we're going to get from Von Miller here in Buffalo, but if he can even if he gets a double-digit sacks, that would be a really big boost and win for this defense.
Sal Capaccio here with us for a few more moments. You're around this team more than anybody really in the media. You know what the narratives have been, right? Sean McDermott, good coach, not a great coach though. Buffalo, maybe the window has already closed on them. Where do you sense this team is mentally at after some of the close moments that they've had the last few years of maybe getting through Kansas City and finding their way in a Super Bowl?
The core that they've had since 2017, and then remember when Sean McDermott got here, there was a 17-year playoff drought. It was the longest drought in professional sports, North American professional sports. They broke that drought together, 2017, and they were all bonded by that, and it really carried them for a while. Over the last few years, that core has been through a lot of, as you said, disappointments in the playoffs. And I think that kind of carries with you a little bit. Well, they've kind of reset, and some of that core has aged out. Some of that's financialed out, right? I mean, now that a lot of those guys are gone, it's a new core. So I think mentally, you're just talking about a new team. You're talking about new players coming in, setting a new culture. This is the second iteration of the Buffalo Bills under Josh Allen. As far as Sean McDermott is concerned, look, there are many fans will tell you that. Will say like, yeah, he's a really good coach, but they've hit their ceiling with Sean McDermott and, they should move on from him. Whether that's true or not, look, I was living down in Florida when I didn't think that about Tony Dungy, but then the Buccaneers did, and John Gruden won a Super Bowl, right? I mean, like, that can happen. But I will tell you this, Zach. Terry Pagula and Kim Pagula, they have to me, no appetite to do that whatsoever. They have ownership dream, which is an owner, a GM and Brandon Beane, and a head coach that are aligned and that are successful and have strong continuity. The Bills are still the second winningest organization in the NFL over the last 5 years. And that's because of a lot of that kind of stuff. So I don't buy any kind of, the fans might want it to happen or something, unless Sean McDermott and the Bills had some sort of really drastically down season, or there's infighting going on inside one Bills drive, which hasn't happened in 7 years here. Sean McDermott isn't going anywhere, at least until we get into 2025 and we see where things go.
So no Bill Belichick coming to Buffalo is what you're telling me, Sal.
That's not happening. No, that's not happening. The Bills in this ownership group, I don't think would have any type of, again, I'll use the word appetite, to have that kind of personality and person who would want that kind of control.
He is Sal Capaccio. What's the big storyline here for you going into these joint practices?
Really, the Bills did not play well last week. And again, it's a lot of new faces, and Sean McDermott wasn't happy about it. Now the scoreboard, you want to win. That's not it. It wasn't about the scoreboard, Zach. It was about, there's a standard that you have every time you step on the field, and there's some new players here. There's some younger players, and that standard has to kind of be relearned by some of these guys. And I think that the storyline for me is this week, they need this. They need these joint practices against the Steelers, and then to get into Saturday and to kind of reestablish themselves and say, look, yeah, we are still the Buffalo Bills. And when we go out there, regardless of all the success we've had over the last several years, what we saw last Saturday on the field, can't be our standard, and we have to play better.
Sal, appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing this today.
You got it, buddy.
You got it. There he is, Sal Capaccio. Always enjoy when he jumps on board with us to chat about the Buffalo Bills, an extensive preview of their season, and thank him so much for doing that. It's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsEd or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show, and we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah, I'm picking Josh Allen to win the MVP. I am. I've said that before. I'll say it again. And the Bills are on a short list of teams that I have that I'm still considering making them my Super Bowl pick this year. I have like 7 or 8 teams right now that I'm thinking about, why they're out of the AFC or the NFC to be in the Super Bowl. I've not made my official Super Bowl prediction yet. I won't until the first week of the season. And I still have Buffalo in the mix because when they expected it to happen, it didn't happen. Maybe when it's unexpected, it ends up happening for Buffalo. All right, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We miss college football.
Milrose stands in. He throws into the end zone.
He caught it.
It's caught by Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama.
We can't wait for the 2024 season.
Hands it off to Edwards, who will bounce it outside. Got him at 40. Got him at 30. Donovan Edwards is in the clear. His second touchdown run of the ball game. This time from 46 yards. And Michigan has taken a 13-3 lead on the second touchdown of the night from the man who was not tripping.
And we're counting down the days to kick off.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
I said no.
Are we there yet?
What's wrong with your ears?
Here is your college football fix, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, rock and roll. Hour number 2 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show coming to you live from our Infinity Sports Network studios. We welcome in the former Penn State quarterback to talk a little Big Ten right now, and that, of course, is Christian Hackenberg. Christian, always great to have you on the show. How you been, my man?
Zach, I appreciate it, man. Just trying to survive the first summer with a 16-month-old, so it's been
Congratulations. I didn't know you became a dad.
Yeah. Well, I guess I tried not to count last summer because he was kind of immobile and just, in the blob stage, but now he's rolling around, so the beach has been fun and just trying to keep him out of trouble.
What's the early scouting report? We got a quarterback on our hands here, you think?
I don't know. We'll see, man. I think he's going to be a southpaw for sure, so I've been working on trying to do everything backwards, but hopefully he's got a lot more of his mom's genes than mine.
Let's start you off with your Nittany Lions. I am actually optimistic about them this year. I think they're the third best team in the Big Ten. I think with the new offensive coordinator, Drew Aller, will be better, and this team should be in a 12-team playoff. Just kind of give me your thoughts on Penn State entering this season.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, defensively, they're going to be as talented as before, and probably as expected. I think the shift there at the coordinator position isn't going to be as seismic or have as much ripple effect as potentially on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's where the focus is right now, is how can Andy Koltanecki come in there, identify playmakers. I know a lot of people talked about the wide receiver room last year and the lack of production. I think it's just more so of a mindset. When you recruit at the level that Penn State's recruited at, you have guys in there who can win. It's just about putting them in situations time and again to win in advantageous matchups. So I really think the ceiling is dependent on how Andy Koltanecki can bring Drew Aller along in his development. I typed up a long thing. I think it's a little bit of leadership, but it's not really like vocal leadership or even actionable leadership. I think it's timeliness with his plays and big plays and explosive plays, and then subsequently having a grasp on the offense to a nature where he can be an extension of Andy on the field and get it rolling.
You know, what advice would you give him? Because this time last year, people were like, oh, watch out for Drew Aller. He's going to be great. And now people have their doubts about what Drew Aller could be at the college level.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so tough because I think his skill set is something I can relate to. And I think the transition of college football as a whole has gone much more to kind of a different skill set, if that makes sense. And for Drew, I think it's really lean into what he does well. He's a great thrower of the football. Every report I'm getting from my contacts inside are that he's extremely cerebral. He understands the game. He understands the offense. He wants to learn more about that. And I find that as a little bit of a dying process, if that makes sense. Being able to get in and out of plays, being able to not waste plays. You know, you hear Tom Brady talk about it a lot, like just not wasting plays. And I think for him, really leaning into what he does well and what can be a separator. It may not be the fact that he's going to run around and make plays like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but finding those attributes outside of just throwing the football that he can really lean into, develop, and become an asset for the team, and then ultimately for him as he moves forward throughout his career.
We know they have the running backs this year. What's your evaluation of the line? And I know they brought in Fleming from Ohio State. If he could stay healthy, he's supposed to be a productive player, obviously. But how about the line and the wide receivers for Penn State this year, in your opinion?
Yeah, I've been hearing some good things from camp about the wide receiver group. Obviously, I think they're still going to be able to run the football. They were physical at the line of scrimmage. They didn't have as many explosives last year, but they were still really efficient. The Cooper Cousins kid, I think is his name. He's a physical specimen, and the reports coming out for what he's been doing in training camp has been fantastic. So offensive line, I expect that to continue to get to where I think everybody wants it. It's been a slow build. The room that I'm really excited about, though, and especially for Koltanecki and his track record at Kansas, has just been about, again, putting guys in situations to be successful and taking advantage of what he has within his tool set to expose defenses. And I think they might have one of the best tight end rooms in the country, depth wise. I think they're more of the X factor, like figuring out creative ways to find mismatches with those guys. They're big targets. They're athletic. They've been reliable. They have a proven one in Tyler Warren, who I think is going to be a very high draft pick this year coming out. But being able to get creative with that, being able to get creative with the personnel, being able to, again, be an offensive-minded team and create those mismatches and actually attack with what you have. And I think they have a plethora of weapons. Might not be the traditional Marvin Harrison burner that's going to go have 15 catches a game and be a difference maker, but I think that there's a way to kind of do that with mass and volume.
Christian Hackenberg here with us. I look at the schedule outside Ohio State. I don't look at a game and say, oh, I don't think they're going to find the way to get it done. Like West Virginia's a tough team, and they got two good running backs. I like their quarterback. Neil Brown has that team now moving the right direction. We'll see what USC is like in the Big Ten. You'd imagine Fickle, takes a step here in year two at Wisconsin. But this is a schedule where Franklin doesn't make the playoff. I really don't know, Christian, then how you justify keeping him as the head coach. Do you share that sentiment as well? If they don't make the playoffs this year, then you get rid of Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I share the sentiment, but I think that's definitely a topic of conversation, right? There's a point where you need to continue to take steps in the right direction and build, and I think you bring up a great one in the fact that this schedule this year really bodes well for all of the pieces to come together. The stuff that he's been preaching to the fans, the stuff that he's been preaching inside the building, the schedule bodes well. And the expectations there, you saw it last year, though, the pressure's there as well. And I think he's going to, I don't think he's ignorant to it. I think he understands it. I think the athletic administration from Pat Kraft down also understand it. So there's excitement, but it's a results-based business, man. At the end of the day, you have to go out there and continue to take steps forward and continue to put yourself in a position where you can be as competitive as possible, top down. He's done a lot of that on the back end stuff with the recruiting and the facilities and just the overall PR and marketing of the program. But if there's any year, it feels like I've been saying this for the past few years, but if there's any year where he really has to turn the corner, because I think fans are at that point where it can cause a lot of disruption for the program moving forward. This is a got to have it year.
Talking to Christian Hackenberg right now, it's also you got to have it year for Ohio State. Now, there's different expectations. It's to not only beat Michigan, which they haven't done the last 3 years, but it's to go win a national championship. The conversation with Ryan Day, I think, is a fascinating one because he's only lost 8 games in his career, but you know these rivalry games, you don't beat your rival. The fan base doesn't care if you've only lost 8 games when 3 of those losses come to Michigan. If they can't beat them now, it's that feeling of when are you going to be able to beat them, especially with all the changes that Michigan's had, Christian.
And what's really interesting is he inherited one hell of a run on the Ohio State side as well. I think it was 10 or 11 years in a row where Ohio State had won. I think he was a part of a few of those early on, but that comes with wearing the scarlet and gray, man. That game truly just getting to know some guys who played at Ohio State, and I'm sure the sentiments shared with guys at Michigan. Like that game is slightly different. I would say it's probably, I'm just a big Army Navy guy personally, but like I would assume that the type of focus and commitment to that game is on par with that. And it's interesting because you said he's produced draft picks. He's won a lot of football games. He's been really competitive in the playoff in games where they may have been written off. The Georgia game, I thought had every opportunity to win that one when Georgia ended up winning the national championship. It's just, this one seems to be his monkey on his back. And I agree with you. I think he has to change the narrative this year.
We know the changes in the Big Ten with the Pac-12 schools coming over. Out of those Pac-12 schools that came over, Oregon has the highest expectations. Lanning's a heck of a coach, even though they lost to Washington twice last year. And they bring in Dylan Gabriel, who was further ahead of Bo Nix when Bo Nix got to Eugene 2 years ago with Gabriel's college success. Do you think, people look at Oregon, they're the 3rd or 4th best team in the country, depending on who you talk to. Do you think maybe with the unknown about how they're going to be in the Big Ten that maybe expectations are a tad too high for the Ducks this year?
I don't think so. I think the natural evolution and the way that Lanning has approached building that program has been fantastic. I have a ton of respect for the way that he does things. He obviously has had some great mentors in his past with Saban and then Kirby at Georgia. Two of the guys that have built dynasties in the modern era. I think he's embracing it, and I think you ultimately have to embrace that as you're building that. Those expectations, the goals. He just got an open check from Phil Knight, so he's going to continue to battle there, and that always helps. So, I don't think the expectations are unrealistic. I think his mentality will fit into the Big Ten play probably more than the traditional Pac-12 schools, just in terms of physicality and a defensive focus. So being able to land a guy like Gabriel to run the offensive side, he's played a lot of football, helped smooth things out. And I think they're going to be the quickest to transition to this style of play and the environments and the expectations. And obviously I think probably the scariest for the Michigans and the Ohio States of the world who've ran the Big Ten for the past 15 years.
Yeah, I'll be very curious also, Christian Hackenberg, to see what Michigan is this year. Defensively, we know they got Will Johnson and Graham, and they're going to be phenomenal defensively. It's on offense. Like Donovan Edwards had a great national championship game. He wasn't good, though, last year. He's much better 2 years ago, so I expect a bounce-back year from him. But the big question is Alex Orji at quarterback, because he's an athletic freak. but it's can you put it together? And I think it's like low-hanging fruit, but there's some similarities to Alabama last year with Jalen Milroe, got off to a rocky start and then came on strong at the end of the year. So I'm fascinated to see what Alex Orji brings to Michigan now, most likely being the guy to replace JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, what I'll tell you is I think the one thing I give Michigan a ton of credit is they've kind of gone old school and they've just sown the toughness and owning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football into the fabric of their program. And as a quarterback, that takes a ton of pressure off of you. I mean, I think it's low-hanging fruit as well, but you look at the Penn State game. I mean, JJ I think he threw the ball 8 times. He made a couple plays with his legs, but they proceeded to run the football 32 or 34 times in a row and just beat the hell out of us. And if you're able to do that, football becomes a pretty simple game. You know what I mean? You get 3.5 yards in a cloud of dust, move the sticks, keep the time of possession, score touchdowns, don't kick field goals, and you're going to win a lot of football games. So I think when you're grooming a quarterback into that type of environment, it's a lot easier to hide the inefficiencies and inadequacies of their play, lean on the run game, and allow them to develop and get in a rhythm throughout the season. So ultimately, whoever it is, I think Alex Orji's probably the most dynamic in terms of tool set because the legs complement the running back and the running back focused run game. And obviously we've seen a little bit of it. I mean, the kid's got an absolute hose, just being able to pick and choose when you can use it and how it best fits within the scheme.
We got the news today that JJ McCarthy is out for the season with the Minnesota Vikings. So we won't see him until next year. There was a big debate, though, going back to the draft on what J.J. McCarthy can be with what you've seen or what you think he can eventually become. What do you think J.J. McCarthy is as a pro quarterback?
I just think it's really interesting, man. I think what he was asked to do at the college level in terms of breadth and depth of like winning football games, I feel like the transition to the NFL game, like you can't hide that anymore. You have to be able to do it consistently. And I'm not saying he can't. He's been a winner and he's made key plays in a lot of those games, whether it be with his legs or his arm. But really, when you look at the NFL level, you need to be able to just backpack that sucker and go. And the guys that are really successful can do that. I just haven't seen a large enough sample size of him doing that. And I think I always like to give guys the benefit of the doubt. And I think, unfortunately, he's going to have to sit through this rookie year. But, we'll find out. I know it's kind of a late answer, but that's what I got.
Yeah, last one for you, Christian Hackenberg. Nebraska is dying to just see a football team get to a bowl game again. They were close last year, had 5 wins. Nebraska's going to be good in the trenches, but now they have the quarterback in Dylan Raiola, who I'd be shocked if he's not starting week 1. And you're already getting the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, and you know what the hype train can be. Like, what do you kind of expect out of Dylan Raiola with what you know about him?
Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal talent. The comparisons I think are warranted. He trains with Jeff Christensen. Jeff Christensen's Pat's guy. You see it in his feet. You see it almost in the way he releases the football, and he's obviously uber talented from the spring game. What I'm just really curious to see is how Rule takes the next step. I'm a big believer in Matt Rule. I think he expects a lot out of that program, and I think a lot of the things that cost them football games during that last season under Frost were just it was all mental. It was all between the ears. It was all execution. It's taking practice to the game, and I think with a quarterback like that, if he's bought in 100% to the process that Rule has throughout the building, he starts playing well, everybody follows. Doesn't matter if he's a freshman or not. You earn your stripes between the lines. It makes it a lot easier to bring everyone else along with you.
It could kind of be a little like C.J. Stroud-esque with what he did to the Texans, and that could change very quickly overnight.
Correct.
Christian, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this, and make sure we get your son's arm going, all right? Expect him to be in the recruiting class. Probably already got some NIL money thrown his way, right?
Who the hell knows anymore? I appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, Christian Hackenberg, joining us on the show. Always enjoy when he jumps on board with us. We will take a timeout. When we come on back, we'll update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We'll get to a news brief next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
News Brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, News Brief time. Let's go to the Bengals coach and Zach Taylor. I think this is a joke, by the way. We all know Jamar Chase will inevitably get paid. Why there is still a hold in and they haven't found a way to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and get this deal done with is beyond me. But Zach Taylor was asked about Jamar Chase yesterday. Let's see how he handled it.
Quick update, Jamar, day to day. We'll take it one day at a time. I don't have any comment beyond that.
Smart. Very smart by a coach. You start it off and you just say, hey, he's day to day. I got no more comment on that. That's it. So, fun stuff there with Zach Taylor. Let's go to Mike Garafolo. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo. Now, I'm not upset with Mike, but it's the topic he's discussing. And it's Brandon Ayuk. I am really tired about talking with him because everyone kind of took the bait, and I said from the start he was going to wind back up with the 49ers on a long-term deal because he's a better wide receiver. Not a better all-around player, but a better wide receiver than Deebo Samuel. And it seems like the preference for Brandon Ayuk is to stay with the 49ers, according to Mike Garafolo.
What I've been told is that Brandon Ayuk would prefer to stay with the 49ers and has always preferred to stay with the 49ers, all things being equal. Now, they haven't been equal, but they did make that offer. In fact, both sides sent proposals within the last, couple days, week or so. And the 49ers number has gotten better than what it was previously. And they have, from my understanding, they have agreed on a lot of the main points of the deal. Their offers are in line, but it sounds like there's just one more thing that needs to be ironed out. And if that thing gets ironed out, Brandon Ayuk signs the deal. He stays with the 49ers.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This deal's going to get done. It can't get this far with nothing happening in terms of him not getting dealt that it doesn't get done at this point. And Ayuk wanted to stay there, but you play a game when you're trying to get your number. They used the Pats to give him the $32 million a year, and the Pats said, hey, we're getting used, so we're out, but the number gets leaked out there. So then the Niners go back to him and say, all right, well, we offered you 26. You didn't want to take 32, and it wasn't because the money wasn't enough. It's because you didn't like their situation. Well, we have an ideal situation. So then the Browns got used too, because I do think that the Niners would have got a deal done with the Browns because of Amari Cooper. But obviously the Browns didn't want to give Brandon Ayuk the number that he wanted, or Brandon Ayuk just didn't want to go to Cleveland. And then Ayuk plays the Steelers. Okay, I want to go there. I know they'll probably give me the number that I want, and they're interested in trading for me. But with that being said, they don't have a piece that the Niners are in a win-now mode that would replicate or be enough to suffice for trading Ayuk to the Steelers. This has been a giant game of basically a merry-go-round, just spinning around and around and around and around and around. And Brandon Ayuk, when he got on the merry-go-round, when the ride's over, he's going to be getting off in the same place. It's not like you're winding up somewhere else. So where you start is where you finish, and you'll eventually end up getting the long-term deal from the 49ers. All right, barring the contract news or trade news coming out, I think that's the last time I'm talking about Brandon Ayuk today. Here is Micah Parsons on the CeeDee Lamb situation.
Obviously, we miss him. He's one of the best people you can have in locker room. And, I'm pretty sure he'll be here soon because no doubt about it, week one, he will be suiting up for the Dallas Cowboys. So.
All righty. You have one grown man talking about another grown man and saying he's going to show up and he'll be there in a Cowboys uniform. So you're basically talking about his money. So is that because he gets the deal, or does he not get the deal and he's still going to show up anyway? And don't tell me, I don't think it's smart not to show up. But Chris Jones, who had more leverage too, to be fair. But Chris Jones didn't show up for week one last year against the Lions on Thursday Night Football. Oh, he showed up in the stands. He was a luxury box. But he wasn't playing. And then that deal got done shortly after that. So would CeeDee Lamb kind of replicate that? I don't see why they don't get the deal done with him anyway. Like, Micah Parsons isn't going anywhere. CeeDee Lamb's not going anywhere. The question is Dak going to go anywhere? And Dak has the ability to leave if he wants because he has the no-tag clause. So the Cowboys are just a mess. Jahmyr Gibbs, we were fearing about his injury the other day when we found out about it. Here's Dan Campbell with an update on 97.1 The Ticket.
2 days ago, my phone's blowing up. I got all these people hitting me up about, man, what happened to Gibbs? We got TA. It's done. You know, all these reports are out. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, I think we're going to be fine here. All right. So I think we'll be good.
All righty. So encouraging news there. You think we'll be good. All right, Stu, let me ask you this. I have seen this cut in the system. I have heard about it. But I have no clue what mayonnaise perfume means. They have a perfume now or a cologne now for Will Levis? What is this? I know he does the mayo in the coffee, which I don't understand why anyone would put mayo in the coffee, but did he get some endorsement where now they've come up with a mayonnaise cologne / perfume?
Yes, it would appear to be a fragrance. So basically a cologne, and it's Hellman's inspired mayonnaise for the mayonnaise loving. It
smells like mayo
guy. Again, it's hard to tell because I haven't smelt it and none of us have, but it appears based off of the ad and some of the articles I've read that's the case.
Would you ever get mayo perfume, Marco Belletti?
I don't like mayo.
Not at all?
Nothing. But all of this, why don't you actually do something? Instead of worried about mayo.
You're going to crush a guy for getting his money?
Yeah. Money? Please. Do something. I mean, literally anything. Do something. Can you nail down the job? Can you be a starter? Can you throw a touchdown pass? Can we see you actually play before you're worried about mayo and putting it behind your ears? Please, give me a break.
I'm actually intrigued to smell what the mayo perfume smells like. That sounds stupid. But think about it this way. You're getting ready to go out on a Friday night with a lady. You're really going over to the mayo perfume? The mayo cologne? That's what you're doing?
I mean, are we for real here? This feels like Monsters, Inc., where you got to get the can of dirt out.
So when I saw it, I thought I saw some post about it. I'm like, oh, this is some parody, and now it's in the system as, oh no, this is an actual campaign.
Yeah.
So here's the commercial for the mayonnaise perfume.
They try to define you, but you are the ingredient to your own success.
Oh no.
Luscious, eggy, smell like greatness. Will Levis, number 8, Parfum de Mayonnaise.
Look,
I'm out.
I'm being serious though, for your own good. I realize it's money and you're trying to have fun. I get all that.
You can't be doing a commercial.
You're known for mayonnaise in coffee, and your girlfriend sitting next to you at the draft while you drop.
And
those are the two things that people know Will Levis for.
Don't forget, he doesn't unpeel the banana.
Bro, worry about your career. Worry about your career, because that's what you're going to be forever known for: mayo and coffee, and what your girlfriend looked like after you, and then you wind up breaking up later.
Yeah.
While you're plummeting in the draft.
He's recovered since.
What do we stop?
You know what? If
sense of pride.
Whoever he's dating, if all it takes is putting mayo cologne on, I may join the mayo cologne club.
Great. Worry about your career. It's short, okay? Worry about your career. You can do this stuff later.
Let's go to Dana White. He was asked about the idea of Alex Pereira ever fighting John Jones.
Joe Rogan, you just said always kind of hit you up about the John Jones-Pereira fight. Is that going to happen or what?
No.
Okay.
See, that was easy. That was quick.
Boom.
Have you seen the internet reaction to the obviously pound-for-pound conversation in you and John Jones? And once again, as a friend of the Jones family, I agree with everything you say. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, everybody on the internet's stupid. So anybody who thinks John Jones isn't the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world should never be discussing fighting ever.
So when Dana usually dismisses the idea of something happening, there's a reason behind it. As a fight fan, and I've asked him before, I wanted to see another rematch of Israel Adesanya against Alex Pereira, and he went out of his way to dismiss it, and then when I asked it a different way to him, he left the door kind of open, but you could tell everyone in the UFC was shooting that down after those fights were great. Now, the sexy topic now is eventually having John Jones and Alex Pereira fight up against one another, because Pereira, doesn't matter what weight class you put him in, with what we've seen before, he's won championships everywhere he's gone. So that would be intriguing for me to see, but I don't think it's going to happen, because I also don't know, when are we... You're supposed to get Stipe and John Jones. We're supposed to get a Madison Square Garden, and then you had the injury occur, so that happened. You're supposed to get a Madison Square Garden again this year, and then is that going to be their last fight? Like, I have no clue. So I would be surprised if we end up getting that one, but I don't want to see it dismissed like it was on the Pat McAfee show today. Now, last thing here, when it comes to the UFC. UFC 303 on June 29th, we were supposed to see the return of Conor McGregor against Michael Chandler. It was reported that Conor McGregor had a broken toe, and he's going to be able to come back in 2 months. Now, Dana White is saying Conor still wants to fight, but we're not going to see him for the rest of this year.
I saw that you and Conor were both in Sturgis. I'm wondering if you guys met at all and talked about the potential of his fight as well.
We talked, yeah. We talked. We didn't meet up, but we talked. And yeah, he wants to fight, so we'll figure it out.
Soon? By the end
Not
of this
year. He won't fight this year.
So I said this right before we got that news, or when we got that news in June, that you can't tell me that the broken toe is the reason why he didn't fight. And it was Dean Thomas on, who even said there's a lot of guys that would have fought with that and have fought. You also had Chael Sonnen not really buy, when he was on this show, the broken toe excuse as well. And now this broken toe that's only supposed to keep him out for 2 months is now keeping him out through the end of the year. I have said this once. I probably now said it at least 10 times, and I'll say it again, and it won't be the last time. I will believe Conor McGregor makes his triumphant return to the octagon when he actually does. I think we've already seen his last fight. The guy doesn't have the heart to do it anymore. He doesn't. And there has to be something else going on, because this idea that it's a broken toe now keeping him out through the rest of the year is just horseradish. Did I use that correctly there, Stu? Horseradish. There we go. We finally were able to do the horseradish. Yes. Thank you to Tyreek Hill for helping us out there. All righty, we'll take a break here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, it is a Winkler Wednesday. Bart Winkler will join us next. Update time first. A man that will never, ever, ever wear Mayo cologne. Here he is, El Capitan, Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network.
Is that where we're going next?
Sports Flash.
Well, Zach, JJ McCarthy.
Pay me for it. I'll endorse anything you want.
Jeez. Pride. JJ McCarthy, full repair of his meniscus, means the 10th overall pick in the draft done for the entire season. Vikings don't get to see their rookie. They hope to take them into the future, and they'll now likely turn to Sam Darnold as a starter, hoping to resurrect his career. Darnold, of course, 3rd overall pick, the 2018 draft for the Jets. Brandon Ayuk saga continues. 49ers still said to be trying to get a long-term deal done. Also reportedly have a trade in place with the Steelers should that fall through. Also a possibility Ayuk plays the season on that 5th-year option, just over $14 million, and then tests the market. Meanwhile, Lions head coach Dan Campbell able to quell some concerns regarding the hamstring injury for his running back Jahmyr Gibbs, suffered on Monday in practice. This courtesy of 97 won the ticket in Detroit.
2 days ago, my phone's blowing up. I got all these people hitting me up about, man, what happened to Gibbs? We got TA. It's done. You know, all these reports are out, and I'm like, okay. So, anyway, I think we're going to be fine here. All right. So I think we'll be good.
Taking a look at baseball, you got the Rockies in front of the check that the Diamondbacks in front of the Rockies 5-0 in the bottom of the second. Jock Peterson's driven in a pair. Pirates and Padres scoreless there in the first, and the Royals handle the Twins 4-1. Bobby Witt Jr. couple of hits, including his 24th homer of the year. I'm Marco Belletti.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's an epic battle for the Infinity Sports Network. Zach.
Lethargic, putrid, pathetic. Quitters. They're quitters.
What a joke, Bart.
Something fun to talk about. That's what we do here. It's like, hey, guys, it's like we're just hanging out at a bar talking sports.
It's time for Winkler Wednesday. Only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, Bart Winkler joins us each and every Wednesday in this hour right here on the Infinity Sports Network. You could listen to Bart Winkler right after us. Well, not actually right after us. Many hours later, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time. So let me see. You got JR after us, and then after JR, then it's Bart Winkler. See, now, Bart has thrown me off here because he wants me to give, this energetic introduction every time he comes on. So there I was just not really feeling the energy, and then I just messed it all up. So you're also outside, so that threw me off too. And, you were moving around with your phone before we brought you on. So I was very confused and very distracted. So I apologize, Bart.
No, I understand how that can trip you up. I do apologize for making you think that you need to, have an energetic. There was one day you were so
I was flat.
I was like, you didn't even want to talk to me.
All right, now joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network is Bart Winkler. Bart, how are you? You good, Bart?
And I'm outside because I got I got top of the line internet.
Mm-hmm.
I got top of the line router.
Yeah.
I got Wi-Fi extender. It don't work.
So what are you doing then now? Why do you have to go outside for it?
I'm on 5G, and I just thought I'd sit on my porch.
Okay. So the bill's going up here because now you're using the actual cell stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty mad. I almost cried today. I think I'm in the longest period of my life that I've gone without crying.
I heard the last time you cried was when I left Milwaukee after visiting you for a weekend. Was that true?
That was it. That was really sad. We had a really nice time. I drove by the ice cream shop we went to the other day, and I thought of you. I almost texted you, and then I thought that'd be weird, so I brought it up on air instead.
Very good ice cream, by the way. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, Leon's. Yep.
I didn't know Milwaukee had good ice cream, but it was very good ice cream.
Anything that makes you fat, we have good of.
Yeah. That's true. Anywho, let's start with the biggest news of the day. What do you think the biggest news of the day is? Let me ask you that first.
It's got to be Vikings?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't a trick question. You have JJ McCarthy now out for the season. I thought Darnold was going to start anyway, even though I don't think he should have, but you knew he was going to. And now McCarthy's done for the year. What do you expect out of Minnesota? I know Addison just got banged up in practice. We don't know what the extent is, even though he got carted off. They still got Justin Jefferson. They got your guy and Aaron Jones. They got Hawkinson. So you look at them. They got pieces on offense, but I can't expect much out of Sam Darnold. Some people believe Sam Darnold's career is going to get turned around now in Minnesota. I can't buy that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have decided to believe that. I'd like to see what he looks like, but I think with Minnesota, you can kind of silver lining this and say, well, JJ wasn't going to play that much anyway, and Sam Darnold was going to, but he would have played. He would have played and he would have gotten reps, and you're losing a year to an injury, which is not good. At least with the Falcons, getting Michael Penix, even if he doesn't play, he's still getting the reps, he's still getting the work, he's still getting the practice. And any of these guys that aren't going to start right away, and you don't want to be hurt. You can do silver lining, he wasn't really going to play much until next year, but you don't ever want to be hurt. I think the Vikings are one of those teams that they're probably going to be picked last in the North. But that doesn't mean they're not going to disrupt things. There's a bunch of these teams. We're talking Seattle last night. No one's going to take Seattle to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe not even the playoffs.
But they're a solid team.
They're going to they could win 9 wins. Maybe they win 10. But they're going to disrupt teams. I think, for me, I'm at a spot right now, and the reason I kind of laughed when you asked the biggest news of the day was because what have we been talking about for 2 weeks now?
Brandon Ayuk, and he's getting a deal with the 49ers. There's no doubt about it. Anyone that thinks otherwise, obviously both sides were using the media, both sides were using us, and this is going to end up with him winding back up in the Bay Area.
So what do we talk about in the month of August? We talk about injuries, and we talk about holdouts. I'm somebody who, you take a little time off, you take maybe a vacation, maybe some days around the holidays. I'm going to work every day that I'm scheduled to work if it allows me to take off the entire month of August, because this sucks.
Well, you could basically do what I have done, and I followed Damon Amendolara's method. And honestly, I've had a wonderful summer. Once we got to like the end of June, when summer starts, I've taken almost every Friday off. And let me tell you, a 4-day work week in the summer, and then you get a long weekend. I'm telling you, when football gets here, we're going to see a different version of the Zach Gelb Show. I feel refreshed. I haven't really even done that much, but I just feel wonderful. I'm telling you, Fridays in the summer taking off, if you could do it with your vacation and you don't have to take like long weeks and stuff like that throughout the year because of other obligations, best thing I've ever done.
This is the 1 week. I've been doing that in August. So this is the week. I am 5-day Bart this week. You get the 5 days.
But you got responsibilities. Like, you have a wife, you have a kid. I have no responsibilities.
I took off my kid's birthday party. And my kid's graduating daycare. And I got to that's when I'm going to cry. Oh, my God. But I'm tired. Brandon.
You're not crying at your kid graduating daycare.
Dude, we sent him for picture day. He had a picture day at daycare, and we dress him up nice. Mm-hmm. And then we get the pictures back 3 weeks later. We don't know what they look like. Oh, this one's really cute. This one's really cute in the clothes that we send him. And then, unbeknownst to us, they throw him in a cap and gown holding a diploma.
Okay.
This little 4-year-old picture that I did not expect. I mean, how do you? It's emotional.
Mm-hmm. Man, you do look like you're crying right now.
I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking about my internet. I'm thinking that this is the one Friday this month I have to work. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on.
You got it. Bart Winkler here with us. Maybe they could use you as one of the extras in the new Happy Gilmore movie, because I think that was some tremendous acting. I think you fake cried there, and you had some tears come down your face.
You should know by now that I'm not looking to be an extra on anything. I want to be the headliner.
Hey, Adam, move aside, Sandler. This is Bart Winkler. All right, real quickly, do you just yes or no? Do you believe that Caleb Williams is the real deal in Chicago?
Yeah, I do. I think that he's good. I think that Bears fans are so trained that he's not going to be good, that there is a guy that is good. And I just, it's going to be annoying as a Packer fan, the back and forth on that, but this can't go on forever. I mean, they've had 100 years and they don't have, who's their best quarterback? Sid Luckman? Nobody even knows what a Sid Luckman is. We just know that's the name. That's the answer.
Jake Cutler is like a legend there.
I think, honestly, Kyle Orton had some of the best games I've ever seen as a Bears quarterback.
What about that Rex Grossman? Let me tell you. It got him to a
Super Bowl. Yeah.
All right, so you believe Caleb Williams. I do as well. What about Jaden Daniels?
I think I believe, what are we basing this off? 1 week of preseason that they all
I'm just saying, well, do you think he's going to be the guy or not with the Commanders?
I think he'll be there longer than Sam Howell was.
Okay. So that's not a ringing endorsement.
I think Caleb's QB1 of this class. Penix is QB2 for me. Yep.
I have Daniels as QB2. You in or out on Drake May?
I'm pro Daniels. I'm in on Drake May I feel like the Patriots, I feel like everybody's got when you want to do a rebuild, you want to do a 2 or 3 year rebuild. I feel like New England's we're going to do a 6-year rebuild. We're just going to take this super slow.
God, no.
That's what they're doing. Yeah.
Bo Nix, in or out?
Bo Nix has started 60 games in 5 years, so he better be the starter there.
Well, he's going to be the starter week 1, but do you think he's going to be any good?
I don't like Sean Payton enough to believe in Bo Nix.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I don't know if you were always like this with Sean Payton, but for me, it's been the last 2 years. With how the whole thing went down with Russell Wilson, I'm out on Sean as a head coach. I'm rooting against him.
I liked him on TV. I thought he was good on TV. And then the whole courtship, the way that there were so many jobs open and they were going to be open, but
and it's
he
like,
rushed
why did you go to Denver?
Job.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
He rushed to that job. And then the day I was out on him was when he wore an orange tie on TV to like flirt with the Broncos to show them that. And then he gets up at the press conference and he says all this stuff about Hackett and he's like, "Oh, I guess that's the analyst in me." Shut up.
MVP this year. Who's the MVP of the NFL this year?
I didn't even think about that yet. It's got to be a quarterback.
I'm going Josh Allen.
I would go Allen, Lamar, or Mahomes and give you the field.
And you would give me the
field.
All right, so then I'll take Jordan Love.
And again, so you got to stay healthy, but I really, really like the Ravens and Lamar.
Yeah, but are they going to give Lamar his third MVP already? I don't think so. Like when you start to get into that
he'll get Giannis. I forgot about that. He'll get Giannis.
Anyway, Bart, I think you need to take a nap. You know, you're very emotional today.
I can't. I got to take my kid to swim lessons. I got to plan a show of which I have nothing. That's fun.
Yeah, I feel like you use us.
Maybe I'll re-air that. I'm going to re-air this. That'll be good.
Yeah, go ahead. Re-air it in the 11 p.m. Eastern time hour. All right, I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do that.
You have a wonderful day, Bart. Thank you.
I won't.
Jeez, there he is, Bart Winkler. I feel like I'm a therapist now when I do these segments. I feel like Bart just spills his heart out to us. I'm telling you, I always have control of my show. When Bart now joins, I have no control of the show. I have no clue where the conversation's going to go. And I feel like by the week, Stu, he's just getting more negative. You know, we got to have a talk maybe with Bart Winkler. 10 college football predictions for this upcoming season. Next!
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. All righty, I'm going to give you 10 college football predictions right now. And when we give you those 10 predictions, I will start off with the first prediction being DJ Uiagalelei is going to get his revenge in the regular season up against Dabo Swinney. When you have Clemson going to Florida State in Tallahassee, and that occurs on Saturday, October 5th. Monster, monster, monster game. And things could actually potentially be rough for Clemson going into that game, and that may be must-win territory already. Because they start the season, Clemson, with Georgia. Georgia's going to beat Clemson. You know, if Dabo Swinney wants to have hey, I'm back, I'm still great, go beat Georgia week 1. I don't expect that to happen, though. Then they play Appalachian State. Then they play top 25 NC State, which is not a gimme. And then they play Stanford. If they lose to Georgia and NC State, already have 2 losses, you then got to win out of your Clemson if you want any prayer of making the college football playoff. So I think that's going to be an enormous game, and I like DJ Uiagalelei to get his revenge up against Dabo Swinney. So that's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2, Nebraska. It's been a long time since they've been in a bowl game. 2016. I think Nebraska is not only bowl eligible this year, but they're comfortably bowl eligible. I believe Nebraska, with Dylan Raiola starting from the jump, is going to be an 8-win team this year. I have Nebraska going 8-4, and Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola setting up big-time expectations then for the following season, but I like Nebraska to get to a bowl game. Okay, I'm going to give you a Michigan prediction here. It's not a record. It is an award, though. I'm going to have Colston Loveland, who I had him on this network when we were called CBS Sports Radio. Now we're the Infinity Sports Network. Maybe some coaches around the country should start to understand that. But I will get Colston Loveland to win the Mackey Award this year. That goes to the preeminent tight end in the country. I think there's been some signs that Colston Loveland can be a really good player. You talk about, right, all that Michigan has lost with Roman Wilson no longer being there, Blake Corum no longer being there, JJ McCarthy no longer being there. I'm talking about the offensive side of the ball. They lost a ton of defense side of the ball as well. I think this turns into the year where you start to see, okay, Colston Loveland's going to be asked to do more, and he really puts it together. So, 3 out of the 10 predictions so far. DJ Uiagalelei beats Dabo Swinney. I also have Nebraska winning 8 games, and then Colston Loveland winning the Mackey Award. Next prediction is going to be a college football playoff prediction. We're all trying to figure out who the 5th team is going to be in terms of who's the 5th conference winner. You know that, right? The Big 12, the ACC, the Big 10, and the SEC, they're going to have their buys. And in all likelihood, this team will be ranked 12th because they don't put that team in at 5. It's just the highest ranked. The 4 highest ranked conference champions get by, and then whoever the other one is, you see them wherever they fall in their rankings. But they're guaranteed a spot. I believe that's going to be Liberty, 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 Liberty. I'm going Liberty to make the college football playoff. Also making the college football playoff, James Franklin. I think Penn State right now is the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten. We'll get to more of them in just a bit. Oregon being the 2nd team, and I think Penn State is the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. I do believe the Big Ten, in all likelihood, is probably going to send 4 total teams to the college football playoff this year. There's a chance it's only 3, but I think it's going to be 4 total. You know, it all comes down to, is there a strong ACC team in it, the 2nd spot, a strong Big 12 team in the 2nd spot? I do think Notre Dame is going to get in. But it does feel like, for most years, it's going to be your 5 conference champs and you got 7 other spots. It's then, in all likelihood, 3 more teams for the Big Ten, 3 more teams from the SEC, and then a spot reserved for Notre Dame. But it may not always be 4, and maybe one year like the SEC puts in 4 and the Big Ten puts in 3, if there is a strong, let's say, Big 12 team or ACC team that was the team in the regular season, they lose their conference championship game, and then you still want to find a way for them to make the college football playoff. But my next prediction is this. James Franklin will make the college football playoff. Nico, let me ask you this, because I know you're a big college football fan and you're a big Michigan fan. Going into this year, Big Ten ranking-wise, Ohio State is the number 1 team in the Big Ten, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Then who's 2?
Oregon.
Who's 3?
So head-to-head, I think if Michigan played Penn State...
Which they don't this year.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think Michigan wins that game. But Penn State's schedule is so easy, I think they finish ahead of Michigan. Because like we've said, even you've said, they're going to go 11-1 most likely. Possibly even 12-0 according to some. Michigan, though, has...
Someone said they're going to be undefeated?
Well, I've heard people say that because they're home, it's in Happy Valley against the Buckeyes, they could win that game. Against, or if you look at Michigan's schedule, against Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, even teams like, USC at Washington, it's a very tough schedule.
Sure.
I think Penn State finishes ahead of Michigan, but head-to-head, I don't think that Penn State is the better team.
So, Stu, let me ask you a quick question here.
Sure.
How are you as a driver? I know that you had that terrible trip to Philadelphia where it took you 4.5 hours to get there. So that doesn't mean you're a bad driver. But how are you as a driver?
I think I'm a good driver. I do have some road rage at times.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now this makes me even more intrigued to travel with Stu.
Especially having to drive in New Jersey and New York City at times. Yeah, people suck. People do not know how to drive.
Would you be interested? And I don't know what the heck has happened to me this summer, but I am interested in potentially taking a trip to Happy Valley. November 2nd. If I get the tickets, and I think I could get us 2 free tickets and some good seats. Stu is already looking at his calendar. Here we go. Stu is checking in the joint calendar.
I just have to make sure I don't have anything.
What has Angie got going on
Yep.
that weekend? Is there a wedding? Is there a sister's birthday party? Is there like a sister's cousin's, mother's, nephew's, plumber's birthday party?
Yep.
I'll throw that out there.
Have to always check. But as of right now, the calendar is blank for that whole weekend.
Okay. It's a long drive, and then I have to get back here for Sunday for football. But I think that's a noon game. That's going to be a big noon game. So we'd have to then leave afterwards.
Yes.
You would be in?
I'd be in.
I think it'd be really funny, too, if we don't tell Samter. Like, we don't tell them that we're like, I could say it on air throughout the week. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going. Don't tell him you're going. And then we post a photo together on Instagram or Twitter that we're at the game and just see how he handles it.
It's a great
that
idea.
following Monday.
Yes.
I think it'd be good.
I think so too. And I've never been to a college like
Right?
I've been.
Like, you're a big event guy.
I am.
And like, you appreciate the big event. And we got to see how the schedule pans out. Because if like Penn State, like Drew Aller gets hurt early in the season and it's a catastrophe and it's not as big of a game, like that should be a big game. But if it doesn't feel like a big game, I don't know if we have to go. So that's a possibility. Now, I'll throw something else out there. This one could be a little trickier. What about going to Ohio State for Michigan, Ohio State? Now, that's Thanksgiving weekend, so that could be a little difficult for you.
That's tough. Thanksgiving weekend is tough.
Okay, but November 2nd.
It's could I?
Yeah, but then we got to fly.
Yeah, that's the thing is you got to fly, and you got to fly on Thanksgiving weekend, which is usually more expensive.
We could at least road trip to Penn State.
Definitely.
It's only like 9 hours to Columbus.
That's a long drive.
It's a long drive.
So maybe we leave that Friday after the show. So Friday, November 1st, we'll get a hotel somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because getting right to State College is crazy. Or maybe even we drive right up to State College after the show. We get out of here at 6 o'clock. That's not that bad. I know Hickey's going. Maybe we just crash wherever Hickey's staying.
That's a great idea.
Would you
Yes.
be cheering for Penn State or Ohio State there?
I don't know actually.
I just want
That's
a great game.
question. Yeah, that's the thing. I would just go for a great game, not really like I need this team to win.
Okay. So we'll iron out the details, but I have Penn State making the playoff this
I
year.
do have a shirt of one of those teams.
Do you really?
I do.
So you have a Notre Dame gear.
Yes. College is the one where I'll have
Wear whatever?
other teams. Do you know which one it is?
Is it Penn State or Ohio State you're asking me? I'm going to say, I feel like it's Penn State that you got.
It is not. It's an Ohio State.
Why do you have a
shirt.
Ohio State shirt?
I don't know. I just liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an Oregon one. I have
You
an
got
Alabama
Michigan
one.
shirts too?
No, I don't have Michigan now.
Okay. So that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
We'll check back in a few weeks on that one. But I think it'd be very funny if we just don't tell Sam.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because he'd be running around the office. They went on a trip. They didn't tell me. Oh, my God. Why? I think it'd be very funny. All righty. Big 12 winner. I think this is the toughest one. I want to see Utah win the Big 12. But when Chris Kleiman won the Big 12, he's the most underappreciated Big 12 winner ever when it was Kansas State because TCU ended up going to the college football playoff. They were in the national championship game. I think the Big 12 winner this year is Kansas State. For the Heisman, I don't know who's going to finish first and who's going to finish second in terms of who goes one, who goes two, but I think the two guys that will finish 1 or 2 in the Heisman, and I think you could swap them around whichever way you want, is Carson Beck of Georgia, Dylan Gabriel of Oregon. One of those guys will win the Heisman. One of them will finish in second. Talking about Thanksgiving weekend, I think Ryan Day gets the job done against Michigan, but Ohio State does not win the national championship this year. Okay. I have given you 8 predictions so far. I have 2 more to make. So far, I've given you Nebraska, bowl game, 8 wins. DJ Uiagalelei beats Dabo Swinney in the regular season. Colston Loveland wins the Mackey Award. Liberty makes the college football playoff. James Franklin will make the playoff. The Big 12 winner is going to be Kansas State. Carson Beck, Dylan Gabriel, 1-2 in the Heisman. Ryan Day beats Michigan, but does not win a national championship. So, that leaves me with 2 more predictions. No bowl game for Colorado. I have Colorado 5 wins this year. I understand everyone tells me the line's better, the line's better, the line's better. The line last year was rubbish, okay? So they'll be better, but how much better is my question. And they have dominant skill position players, and I love the quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. But I think we forgot the job that Coach Prime did take over and how much of a poor state it was in. You know, when they started off 3-0 last year, you only won 1 game down the stretch. It shows how much of a journey there still is there and how much of an uphill climb it still is. I'm going to say they just miss being bowl eligible. They will be a 5-win football team this year. And then finally, Alabama, Roll Tide. As we get closer and closer to the season, I'm warming up to Alabama. I am. You guys know me. I love Kalen DeBoer. I loved Kalen DeBoer when he was at Fresno State. We had him on, and I'm like, knowing his story with what he did at Sioux Falls as a college baseball player and football player, and then what he did as a coach there. When he was at Fresno, I talked about Kalen DeBoer until I was blue in the face. And we have a good relationship with him. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be a better quarterback this year with Kalen DeBoer than he was with Nick Saban a year ago. And I would say it was about a month and a half ago, someone asked me, how many teams can you see winning the national championship this year? And I gave 4 teams. Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon. Those are the 4 I gave. If you made me give you a 5th, I would put Alabama in there. And the only way how far as I'm going to go here with Alabama is this. I think not only does Alabama in year 1 with Kalen DeBoer makes the college football playoff. Like, he has to make the playoff this year. A 4-team format, I'm not sitting there saying he has to make the playoffs. But he has to make the playoffs in a 12-team format. Think about it. The Crimson Tide fan, what they're used to, if they don't make the playoff this year and he's team 14th, 15th, or 13th, that's a disaster in year 1. But not only do I think that Kalen DeBoer makes the playoff this year, I believe he's going to win a playoff game. And that's how far I'm willing to go with Alabama this football season. So year 1, Kalen DeBoer not only makes the playoff, but wins a playoff game. The Alabama schedule this year: Western Kentucky, South Florida, Wisconsin, Georgia, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn. That's a good schedule for Alabama. Like, I'm talking about as a college football fan. That's a fun schedule. They should be 3-0 to start the year. That Georgia game is a massive statement. They'll beat Vanderbilt. They'll beat South Carolina. Tennessee and Missouri have 2 good quarterbacks. LSU, we know what Brian Kelly does in year number 3. Mercer, cupcake. Oklahoma, I don't know what Oklahoma's going to be. No one has talked about Oklahoma. It's only, Texas going to the SEC. Has anyone talked about Oklahoma? I know they're ranked 16th in the country, and then you got the Iron Bowl. If you're watching Alabama this year, that's a fun schedule. That is a fun schedule. So the 10 predictions are as follows. Nebraska Bowl game, 8 wins. DJ Uiagalelei beats Dabo. Colson Loveland wins the Mackey Award. Liberty College Football Playoff. James Franklin makes the playoff. Big 12 winner will be Kansas State. Carson Beck and Dylan Gabriel. One will be 1 in the Heisman. 1 will be 2. Ryan Day beats Michigan but doesn't win a national championship. Kalen DeBoer makes the college football playoff in year 1 and wins the playoff game at Alabama. And there will be no bowl game for Colorado. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Some interesting Tom Brady audio. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Infinity Sports Network.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. You have 2 ways to win and no rake. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. If the team loses or ties, the entry is eliminated. You could only pick each team once in a season. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. And Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. Quarterly and full season payouts. The entry that does the worst wins $100,000. You must register at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson, or Sparks Reno. And we are heading out to Circa Las Vegas, and we will be doing our show live from Circa. And I love going to Circa. On August 22nd and 23rd, entries are now open and close September 7th at 2 p.m. Visit circasports.com. That's circasports.com for details and rules. Must be 21 and present in Nevada. Paid for by Circa Sports. Okay, so I was not aware of this. I thought this was rumored. But in 2028, there's going to be a new Olympic sport that debuts, and it's going to be flag football, which I didn't know that. So we will have flag football in the 2028 Olympics, which will be pretty damn cool. Here is Tom Brady, NFL on X, when he was asked if he made an Olympic team of current athletes, what would he do?
Quarterback, okay, running back, tight end, and 2 wide receivers. Okay. Out of Team USA in there.
Ooh. All right, quarterback.
Sabrina.
I love Sabrina. So LeBron's my tight end. I'm putting Jason Tatum as my quarterback. Running back, ooh, that's tough. Maybe Ant as my running back. And my receivers, ooh, just depends. I need 2 different types. I need a possession guy and I need a down the field threat guy. I don't know, maybe I move LeBron out to receiver and I put like Ant at tight end. Joel, Ant at tight end. Then I got LeBron at receiver. I think I can utilize him better. He's got more downfield speed. I need Tatum's my quarterback, Ant's my running back, and I need 1 more receiver. I'm taking D-Book. I've seen his skill. That's a squad.
So there you go. That's Tom Brady's squad with the mix mosh of mixing and matching with all these different sports. So let's do this, guys. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end. So we won't double up in the wide receivers. Just quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end. Out of the 4 major sports, you could only pick 1 athlete from one of the major sports, and then that team is out. So, like, for example, if you use Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is then out. You can't use anyone else for the MLB, and you got to put him at one position. So quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end. All righty, I have my 4. Stu, we'll start with you, though. So who is your quarterback from what sport?
I went with Patrick Mahomes. I felt like having the actual football player, the actual quarterback as the quarterback will be the most beneficial here. So I'll go with the best quarterback, and that's Mahomes.
Okay, so you go with Mahomes. Then who is your running back?
I want Ellie De La Cruz from the Cincinnati Reds.
Great
now,
one.
He's 6'5", so he's a little bit taller than a traditional running back, but he's so fast. Leads the MLB with 59 steals. The next highest is 33, so he's so fast. I just think defenses would not be able to contain him.
So he's your running back?
He's my running back, yes.
So your QB is Mahomes. Your running back is Ellie De La Cruz. Who is your wide receiver?
I'll go Victor Wembanyama.
Wow, Wemby!
The height, the reach, no cornerback will have any chance of stopping him up top. He has a little speed, too. I just like that kind of package as a receiver.
I would actually employ Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if this is legal, but I would employ him to just – I don't think there's field goals in flag football. I don't know if there are, but if there is and they want to use that in the Olympics –
he can block a lot of kicks.
To just stand there by the goalpost and as the ball's coming down – kind of go Dikembe Mutombo. No. That's what I would do and just swat the ball away.
Yeah, he could be dual purpose almost.
Okay, so who's your tight end? And this has to be hockey. Because
Yes.
you have Mahomes, quarterback, NFL, running back, Ellie De La Cruz, Major League Baseball, NBA, wide receiver, Victor Wembanyama. Who's your tight end in hockey?
Kraken defender, Jamie Oleksiak, 6'7", 250 pounds, just kind of the right frame, strength combination for a tight end. Not sure how fast he is,
What
not
an
on skates.
answer.
I don't know how fast he is, not on skates. I don't know how many people in the audience know who he is, but that's my pick there.
How did you come up with that one?
I was just trying to think of defensemen in hockey that are bigger, stronger for that position. And again, I feel hockey's the toughest one here to pick because you don't know how fast they are not on skates.
Yeah, and they're not big personality guys, too.
No, so
you have no clue about their background or anything else. Like, there's guys, obviously, a lot of guys that play Major League Baseball that have played football or basketball that have played football. Like, there's a lot of crossover there. Hockey guys, I have no clue what you were like growing up.
I don't feel there are a lot of hockey players that also played football or baseball. Definitely not basketball since it's the same time of year.
Stu, I have my team here. I think your team may beat my team.
All right.
I like your team a lot. Mahomes, Ellie De La Cruz, Victor Wembanyama, and Jamie Oleksiak. Okay. All right, Nico. Fire away. Who's your quarterback?
All right, so at quarterback, I went with a baseball player. Give me O'Neal Cruz. 6'7". Guy's got a cannon. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yeah.
He's a shortstop, throws like 99-mile-an-hour darts over to first base. Yeah, give me him. He's got 12 stolen bases this year, so not the fastest guy in the world, but he can be mobile.
Dual threat ability,
right?
Which is important.
Yeah,
and you don't want to run too much because then he gets hurt. But just be able to move sideline to sideline around the pocket and extend some time for your guys to get down the field. Okay, who's your running back?
So running back, I know we were just talking about how we don't know how fast hockey players are.
You went with the hockey player as your running back?
I went with Connor McDavid because he is the 4-time fastest skater champion in the at the All-Star Game competition.
It's a great because we see him on skates. So I wonder what he looks like when he runs. Like, do you think it's clunky, or do you think, okay, if he's quick on skates, then it may be easier to run?
They should have that in the hockey All-Star Weekend skills competition, like a 40-yard dash.
There'd be too many torn ACLs.
That's true.
Hamstring injuries, ACL injuries.
I'd love to see it, though, to see some
Next time we get Gary Bettman on, hey, could we get a 40-yard dash? Because we're always wondering how quick the hockey players are. We know how quick they are on skates, but then it's different once you take the skates off. So that wouldn't be a bad one. All right, who's your wide receiver? I'm stunned. We had for running back, it'd be a hockey player. I thought it'd either be, I thought really like most of the hockey would be tight end, or who did I end up going for? Tight end. I put a hockey player for my tight end. I just think, take a tall guy, like whoever looks like Zdeno Chara, and just, throw the ball up, in the end zone. Who's your wide receiver?
I went with a football player here. Give me Justin Jefferson. Figured, best wide receiver in the NFL.
Better than Tyreek?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Justin Jefferson, I feel like elite flag football player. I do. Now, I did my NFL player was a running back.
We need his tight end.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get this.
Okay.
I'm saying my NFL player was a running back, so that means Tyreek Hill, who would be an elite fantasy flag football player, did not go in any of our lists. So who's your tight end?
At 6'9", 250 pounds, give me the king, LeBron James, at tight end.
Yeah. I don't know why. When you first were talking about the weight and it'd probably be too light, I thought you were going to go Zion Williamson. That's what I just thought. That's where I thought you were going. So Mahomes is Stu's QB. His running back is Ellie De La Cruz. Victor Wembanyama is his wide receiver. And Jamie Oleksiak is his tight end. For Nico's, O'Neal Cruz is his quarterback. Connor McDavid is his running back. Justin Jefferson is his wide receiver. And his tight end is LeBron James. You know what? I think I failed at this exercise. I really think I failed at this exercise. I think you guys have me beat here. But so I have my list written down here. I'm going to hold off on my wide receiver because that's my baseball player. I said a name that now has triggered a thought maybe I should use him. But anyway, I'll give you the names here. My quarterback, Nikola Jokic. Do we see the passes that this guy has at a basketball court? Heck, I think if he played for the Denver Broncos, it'd be better than any quarterback that they've had since Peyton Manning, if we're just being honest. So I'm going Nikola Jokic as my quarterback. My running back, that's my NFL player. And I ended up going with Run CMC and Christian McCaffrey. My tight end is going to be Matt Rempe. A little physicality, big fella. If he grows into his body a little bit more, he could be physical. Now, for my wide receiver, and I think I was contemplating Aaron Judge. I was switching this name. And I know this guy has not had a long MLB career yet, and he had like a great month and a half. But I'm taking the A's as the Athletics, Lawrence Butler. That guy's 6'3", 215, 220, got some speed, got some power, got some physical size. I think he could be, I don't know if he grew up playing football. I know he's from New Jersey. But I could see him being a good wide receiver in the NFL. So off of Brady just throwing off all these names, or at least for flag football, I have gone with Nikola Jokic as my quarterback, Christian McCaffrey is my running back, Lawrence Butler is my wide receiver, my tight end is Matt Rempe. Now, I'll have Marco be the judge here. We took from the four major sports, one athlete, and we either put them at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Whose team would win in a game of flag football? Here is Stu's team. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. Ellie De La Cruz is the running back. Victor Wembanyama is the wide receiver. And Jamie Oleksiak of the Seattle Kraken is the tight end. Nico's team. O'Neal Cruz is the quarterback. Connor McDavid is the running back. Justin Jefferson's the wide receiver. LeBron James is the tight end. So let me ask you this before you get to mine. Who's the better team between those two?
Stu.
Okay. I would tend to agree. Now, your boys' team.
Okay.
Nikola Jokic is the quarterback. Running back is Christian McCaffrey. Lawrence Butler is the wide receiver. And the tight end is big old Matt Rempe.
You're going down.
Yeah, I think Stu's team is the best.
All right. It's not even close.
I don't even think it's close. No. I think Stu aced the exercise.
Yeah, it's not even close.
And this goes into my theory that Stu is an awesome video game player, because this is as close as you'll get to a video game exercise on the radio, as this is just like a kind of a fairy tale thing, and Stu aced it. Wembanyama is his knee may explode on one play, but he's not going to hit. It's flag football.
But it's also, and he's got Mahomes. So you've already, right from the start, you have a leg up on everybody because you have no idea. As much as you know Jokic can throw a basketball, you don't know. O'Neal Cruz, you have no idea if he can actually throw. You know Mahomes is going to put the ball right on anybody, and you got a guy that's 7'5", so he's got to do throw it up for him. So that's going to be an easy one. And then look at the athletes that he's got next to them. That's running away.
Runaway.
It's running away.
I give credit to Stu. Stu has been sensational.
He's smarter than you. What can you do?
Yeah, it's true, but it's all right. I knew Stu was great when I first met him in Princeton, New Jersey, when I didn't even really know he existed, and I was running some station that he was working at, because he was working on the weekends, and I was there Monday through Friday. But Stu came right up to me the first time I walked in here, and he was like, "Oh, I know you." I'm like, "Where do you know me?" I expected him to say like Temple or maybe growing up somewhere. He goes, "Oh no, from 920 to Jersey. I worked underneath you." I'm like, "Oh, you did?" I didn't even know I had you as an employee.
Real nice. Look at you. You're really crossing the T's and dotting the I's when you were in charge, huh? I went to bat for Stewie when he was an intern. I'll say that. I don't know if you ever do that.
I got chastised once by my boss because they just let me make any
whatever
decision.
you want. That's super.
Yeah, they pretty much made me let
And
me
you
make
had no
any
idea
decision.
who was even working for you. That's good. That's
So
good.
I wanted to hire someone to be a part-timer, and we needed more part-timers. And they walked into my office, and I forget what they were paying them an hour, but they asked for like $3 more. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then like a week later, he said, did you tell this person we could give him $3 more an hour? And I was like, yeah. He goes, gotta run that by me. And I go, okay, you guys were just saying I could just finalize everything and do everything. And
As long as it didn't have to do with money. Now you just
he
learned
was
that
willing to work in the weekends.
it
No one
doesn't
else
matter.
was.
Mathematics, my friend. That's the first part of being in charge. If you're not following that, you're not going to be in charge.
You know, I like to say, now the station is no longer on the air. I like to think it's once I left, they were never able to find any local talent again to go in there, but it may have been that $3 extra an hour could have kicked them off the air.
I'm pretty sure that the money was more important. Yeah, much more important.
It is the Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network.
I'm pretty sure the raise I got there was like 20 cents an hour.
That was not under my watch.
It was not. I think that was before you.
Yeah. What was that, with Dwayne Decker?
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Stu,
Not even a quarter, huh?
When did you leave?
20. It had to be like 2015.
Oh, so you.
Late 2014, early 2015.
Oh, so then this is how the heck did you know me? I didn't graduate college until 2016, and then I started there in 2016. But you knew who I was at that station.
I did, yeah.
That's crazy. Because
Were you already here?
I was already here, yeah. I was doing like 3 different
yeah.
jobs at once, yeah.
I didn't start that job till 2016. I know that.
I don't remember the years, and we, obviously because I've been here since we launched.
Yeah.
I don't remember when Stu interned here, but I do remember Stu being part of one of our first or couple of intern classes. Stu, does that sound
the
about
first
right?
fall class.
And
So
you
the first
thought
one?
Stu was that great of an intern that you walked into Eric Spitz's office? And
I
you
was
said, hey,
asked my opinion on the interns, and the first thing I said was, "Don't let Stu leave."
All right. Thank you, Marco. I didn't know
you.
this. 10 years later.
Program director Belletti.
What can I tell you? No, hey.
Belletti.
Whoa. There's a difference here. There's a difference here. Not everywhere. There's a difference here.
One was like, yeah, I would love to do that. Marco's like,
Whoa. Because that can confuse some people. Let's nip that one in the bud. Now I will throw out. It's rare that I'm asked my opinion. That happened to be one of the times.
Well, you're one for one.
Maybe it was one of the few. Maybe you know what? Maybe still. I don't know how many times they've asked me since. So maybe they don't really love you that much. But I do remember they asked my opinion on that one, and I said, "Don't let Stu leave."
Should we play a game here?
And I want to say they did let you leave, and then they hired you back later.
That'd be correct.
Where'd you go?
My internship ended.
The internship ended.
Yeah, but I think we kept somebody else from that class and then brought Stu back later.
Do you remember who they kept?
I do, yes.
Is the person still working in the company?
No.
This is like.
Would I know this person?
I don't think so.
This is like knowing your own draft class.
So
See?
they made a
He
bad
knows everybody
decision.
that was drafted in front of him.
Yes.
So basically, you had the scouting report. You gave them the right decision. They made the wrong decision. And
double backed? Does that sound right, Stu? Because I don't remember. You know it better than me.
Yeah, I mean, I was, it kind of took like 6 or 7 months, but then I ended up back.
I do remember saying that because I was kind of like, why the hell did you ask me if you didn't?
Yeah.
I was thinking that in my head. I don't remember if I actually verbalized that.
makes me just ask the question. How many other people said don't hire Stu?
I don't think they asked too many people. That was, I think, probably part of the reason why we screwed that up early on.
What, is it just because a lot of the interns were late night hours? You were here late night?
Well, it was different. I mean, the internships back then were a little bit different. We had more interns. They worked more. They were here more, and there was a lot
All
of them.
different day parts.
Yeah, and we got to know them really well because they were here for like 4 or 5 months, it felt like. And they were,
my internship with this company when it was in Philadelphia was a whole semester.
And it was great. You got to know them. You got to see who was good, who wasn't good, and it really helps you hire a lot of people. It was very efficient. It was very good. And you could tell the ones that you didn't want to bring back and the ones that you were like, hey, this is a really good employee.
Yeah.
We obviously swung and missed and then fixed our mistake and brought Stu back.
It's all right. I think it makes you look better now that we're retelling the story.
What can I tell you? I found the quarterback.
Yeah.
I found it in the draft. They went for the glitz and the glamour, and I found the one that
like
was
a right guard, honestly.
Hey.
NFL coaches who intrigue us the most going into this year. We'll get to that next. Update time first. Here he is, not the guy named Bellotti. His name is Marco Belletti, and he's here with the latest Infinity Sports Network update.
Infinity Sports Network
Sports Flash.
Now, Zach, not the news the Vikings wanted to hear. JJ McCarthy needed a full repair of his meniscus, so rookie is done for the season. Tough blow for the 10th overall pick. Sam Darnold will now presumably be your starter in Minnesota. Will they or won't they? Still no answer from the 49ers if they're going to sign Brandon Ayuk to a long-term deal or trade him away to the Steelers. Niners and Ayuk still said to be discussing that long-term contract. Parameters also said to be in place with the Steelers on a trade, so Ayuk's situation remains in flux, and he remains a holdout at camp. For Pittsburgh, they got a quarterback battle going on. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who started but fumbled twice in the preseason opener. Mike Tomlin, though, still unsure if Wilson's going to see the field Saturday against the Bills.
We hadn't determined that yet, man. We're Steelers versus Steelers right now. We'll get to some of that stuff later in the week. I think I'll meet with you guys talking about Buffalo in the press conference, so I won't have any information regarding Buffalo for you guys prior to that.
Elsewhere, Lions head coach Dan Campbell saying Jahmyr Gibbs will be fine from his hamstring injury suffered in practice on Monday. No further details as of yet. Checking baseball, the Diamondbacks doubling up the Rockies 6-3. They're in the 6th. Padres are all over the Pirates 8-0 as they head to the 6th inning there. One final as Bobby Witt Jr. went deep again, his 24th of the year. Royals erased the Twins 4-1. I'm Marco Belletti.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bella B in Calgary says, Zach, what was a better birthday? 21 or 30? Ooh, great question. You can submit a question by tweeting at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stu, what's your answer on this? 21 or 30? What was the better birthday in your opinion?
I say 30.
I'm with you as well.
I had a lot better time when I was 30.
21 is actually overhyped.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, now you could finally drink, right?
Right.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you know that birthday, you just get to get, like, obliterated, right? I thought my 21st birthday, quite frankly, and I have, like, a good group of friends, all fun to go out with and everything. I thought it was so overrated. 30 was awesome. At my 30th birthday, I would actually say it could have been the best birthday I've ever had. Outside
I would agree. I think mine was too.
Now, I'm not talking about, like, all right, when you, like, in somewhat adult life. Because my birthdays were always in the summer. So I was either in, I was at sleepaway camp for a lot of them. So, like, those memories are fun. Growing up as a kid, I had one birthday party at Shea Stadium, which was awesome. Great. Like, we had a luxury box at Shea Stadium. That, like, childhood memory, that was probably the best one. My dad's also an elite birthday party guest because he juggles. So, like, when we were kids, he would have, like, an apple and 2 juggling balls, and then he would eat the apple, like the entirety of the apple. He'd put like the longest chairs ever and balance them on his nose. So like that was always cool. And like I was fine with just playing like wiffle ball with my friends and stuff like that. But I'm talking probably from college and up, 30 was the best birthday I had. And it's kind of funny because it worked out perfectly that it was at one of my best friend's wedding. Because there was open bars the entire weekend. Not that I probably would have to pay for a drink anyway, but I'd have to pay for a single drink the entire weekend. I officiated a wedding. We had some fun late night activities and wonderful birthday. It was a great birthday weekend being in Providence. And Nico, you're not 30.
No.
But was your 21st birthday fun or was it overrated?
Yeah, my brother threw a big surprise party for me, so I had a pretty good time.
Okay.
I wasn't going to bring this up because I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but since we're talking about it, today actually is my birthday.
Wait,
Wow.
You wait till 5:48? We would have got you something.
No, it's all right. I'm a selfless guy. I didn't want to make it about me.
We would have got you something. You know, I got Hickey when he wasn't even working the show, like Chip City or something. We would have got you something. Well, happy birthday.
Happy
Thanks.
birthday.
You're an August 14th guy?
Yeah.
One of my really good friends is August 14th as well. My first childhood friend, I was born the 9th. He was born the 14th. So happy, my buddy Spencer's happy birthday to Spencer. And a happy birthday to Nico. I didn't know you were an August. I didn't know you were a Leo.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I'm a whopping 25.
Man,
Wow.
let me tell you. I'm going to sound old now. And it's not that big of a difference, right? You would think 25 to 30. Enjoy it.
It's a big difference.
It's all downhill from here, kid. Jeez. So happy birthday. Why the heck are you here today? It's your birthday.
It's a Wednesday,
Work
so
ethic.
I didn't want to.
You doing anything after the show?
Yeah, I'm going to dinner with my family.
Oh, where you going?
Steakhouse.
See, that's my kind of guy right there. Steakhouse dinner. For years, I did Peter Luger for the for all those birthdays. What steakhouse? You know?
Yeah, Preemie. It's out on Long Island in Babylon. Actually, I think it might be West Islip technically.
Okay, good job. How do you get that steak ordered?
Medium rare.
Very good. Sides? What are we getting for sides?
Mashed potatoes and mac and cheese.
Lobster mac and cheese?
No, I'm not a seafood guy.
Ooh, all right. That's a demerit. Do you go at all cream spinach? Cream spinach, great side.
Not a greens guy either. No asparagus, spinach, broccoli, none of that.
So you just get in steak, mashed potatoes. Mom, those ain't no mashed potatoes. And then, what was the other thing you said?
Regular mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Okay. What's a dessert? What do you go dessert with?
Cheesecake.
Okay, that's a pretty good
Yeah,
birthday
that's
order.
solid. Yeah.
That's good. And it's a good steakhouse, right?
Yeah, very.
All right, very nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. So I like the 30 over 21, personally. All righty. Let's go around the room here real quick. This is how I end the show. Nico, I'll start with you. The birthday boy. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nico. Happy birthday to you. All right, happy birthday.
See, this is exactly why I didn't want to bring this up today.
I could be more of a douche if I'm being honest. I was trying to get in rhythm with Stu there, so Stu was going a little quicker. I would have done like the happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to Nico, happy birthday to you. All right, what's your coach that intrigues you the most this year?
All right, we'll go with a guy that we've talked about a little bit. It's pretty clear cut for him, right? If this team wins, he'll be fine. If not, he's gone. Give me Robert Saleh.
Okay. See, I didn't put Saleh there, and the only reason I didn't, because there's obviously intrigue. I kind of just chalked this whole season up to Aaron Rodgers. Like, this season to me, it's all on Aaron Rodgers. And I know Saleh can mess it up because you're a coach of a team, but I kind of view Rodgers as like LeBron or Rodgers as Kevin Durant. I know that you could still stab the coach, right, as those guys do, but I will only put the success or failure on this team on Aaron Rodgers. But Saleh, I can't crush you for that one. It's all you interpret the question.
I will go with Mike McCarthy. I just think 3 straight 12-win seasons, lame duck coach. They've had a lot of early playoff exits. I just think it's a big season for him. If they somehow get to the conference championship game or the Super Bowl, he'll be back. But if not, he's probably gone.
My guy's Nick Sirianni. I have flip-flopped on the Eagles so much since their season ended and how it ended. And now you got Nick Sirianni there, where we know this team has the talent. This team's phenomenal on paper. But when you have issues with the coach and the quarterback, we know how this usually goes. 9.9 times out of 10, the player usually wins out over the coach. So can they coexist? That's my big question. And I am fascinated because it's like the teams you guys mentioned, the Jets. Does anyone actually believe the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl? No. They'd be very good, but no one believes there's a Super Bowl. The Cowboys, anyone believe they're going to win a Super Bowl? No. Like the Eagles, they have a Super Bowl feel. And when you have this much talent and you start off 10-1 last year and it goes this poorly, all righty, you either got to put up or you're going to get dragged out of there. Because Howie Roseman isn't going anywhere. Jalen Hurts isn't going anywhere. So this is on you, Nick Sirianni, and I don't really know what you do. You know, Kellen Moore's calling the offense. You didn't organize the locker room properly last year. So you got to make sure that, bare minimum, you have a great relationship with the quarterback. Because if the quarterback at the end of the year goes to Jeffrey Lurie, hey, this is not the guy, Nick Sirianni is going to be out as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. All righty, fun show today. Nico, hope you had a good birthday. Enjoy the steak. Can Stu and I join the Scarlatos family tonight for dinner?
Yeah, of course. Dad's paying, so.
Oh, my man. We'll get some drinks. We'll definitely have a good time. So happy birthday to you, Nico. Big thanks to Stuart Kovacs as well, in addition to Marco Belletti. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. And a big thanks to Sal Capaccio for joining us, Christian Hackenberg, and Bart Winkler as well. All righty. We'll talk manana, everybody. Be out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break.